Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games. Sure is beautiful here in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's great.
Chris Wolfhart.
It is now the 5th. No more fireworks.
And Dr. Agro.
Hot.
Here on GigaBoots.
Agro, you should just get in on this streaming strap Bob and I are going to have of just getting a bucket of ice water for each foot.
Just get a bucket of ice water for each foot of my dick.
I would ask you how many buckets that would entail, but I'm afraid to know.
A gentleman never asks and a lady never tells.
That's right. We're here with Big Think Dimension number 280. Bob and I played Zenless on Zero. We're just
You just want to get that out there?
I just want to get it out of the way. I just want to talk about
please
Zenless
tell me about this game.
Zone Zero
and
right
what
up front.
happened, because the despair has been vague on my timeline, and I need to know what happened.
Let me explain to you, and you need to understand. Agro, I'm not hyperbolizing. I'm trying my best to be very literal and give you real numbers. We streamed it for about 3.5 hours, I believe.
Something like that.
This is an action game. You've seen the trailers where they do the fancy character action, right?
Yeah, where I get like a half a second of gameplay and they won't show me the fucking game going.
Okay, so here's the amazing thing about Zenless Zone Zero. It's a character action game made by the Hoyoverse people, for people who don't know. Makers of Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. In that 3.5 hours-ish, Agro, we played maybe 10, 11 minutes of character action gameplay.
Oh.
The rest of it is terribly told story that is terribly written, presented in the stalest way possible. And there's a board game.
Yeah.
And the board game has no mechanics with which to derive a level or interesting ideas.
That is not the animal they sold.
Yeah, this is structured exactly like a mobile gacha game. Like, it's structured the way Fate Grand Order is, or the way Grand Blue Fantasy is. And it's so weird that they gassed this up so much and released it on consoles. And I'm like, guys, you already put Genshin and Star Rail out that aren't structured like this at all. Those are structured like real video games.
Yeah, and it's structured even weirder.
I don't understand, like, your plan. Like, literally, what was your plan? Did you expect... Because people expected something like those again, because those are what you released already.
Right.
Why did you expect this? Like, I haven't seen a single response. It's like, man, I'm so excited for Zenless Zone Zero, and then they play it and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's even weirder than like Grand Blue Fantasy and the other ones that we've talked about, because there's the board game element. Like, it has that extra layer of abstraction before you get to play it.
So, okay, and keep in mind, this isn't introduced well, Agro. But having spent the time with it, I can now convey to you a layer of the game that eventually materialized in a way where its structure in the cake became apparent. There's a substrate between you, the player, and the character action gameplay through which you navigate on a completely XY coordinate board. You have your character, and there are squares. You move to the different squares. They have different effects, like going down a board or up a board. You can pick up money and then use that money elsewhere on the board to unlock things, to get to places and get stuff. And it's the red squares on that, or the end goal of that will then lead to you playing the character action part. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the problem with the game. I would say the problem is that, once again, like Chris and Bob are talking about, they gotcha the fuck out of this thing. There are way too many menus. They're not well structured. They don't lead into each other well. It's not well introduced.
No, they make these. The menus look beautiful. It's incredible how much work they put into making those look good, and yet the structure to get to them is kind of nonsense.
It is. Nested layers of nonsense. It's like, okay, so then I hold the L2 and press triangle to get to this sort of menu where I can look at these characters, but I can't try them. I can look at the fact I don't own them.
Yeah, and it's all stuff there are literally identical menu structures to this in Genshin that all make more sense and work better because you just hold L1 in that, pull up a whole ring wheel of things you can select and select from them. And here it's like, oh, you hit start to get to this set, you hold L2 to get to this other set. It's just kind of a mess.
So let's talk about the story presentation. The opening of the game has a cool animated cutscene, which is immediately followed up by a motion comic with no motion.
Yeah, it's just a comic that progresses automatically.
That just has cool cut-ins that slide into frame, maybe, sometimes. So there's that comic. That only happens, I think, by the end of our playthrough one more time when they're left in the zone and we abandon them because of the disconnect. The game mostly is not even told through that method. It is told through character models staring directly into the camera in cut-ins, not looking at each other, generic background behind them, saying their lines while doing an idle animation.
Which Genshin has this sort of thing, but they are standing in a real place.
Space, and the camera can move and frame things at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? How is this made by the same people?
Yeah, there you go. It's the fucking, if Genshin had Zoom calls.
Yes.
That's what this, that's really apt, Wakimaki. Yeah. So the story's told through that, and the story's garbage.
Yeah, we spent 3 hours, and most of it was, we need to open the box. We don't know where the box is anymore. We need to find the box so we can open the box.
We have to open the box for our client, but we need to get to the box, and you have the code for the box, but now you are getting hacked. And it's not even just that. It's the additional layer of, they wanted to introduce the mechanics in a very specific way, which was weird, because, mild spoilers for the worst plot I've experienced this year. So Aggro, we're a famous group. I believe we were called Fainoth,
something like that.
It's like Phantom and Phaethon combined. Anyways, we're famous hacker groups. We get people in and out of the Hollow, which I was hoping the Hollow was like a creature, just so we could be peak Bleach, but no. And we made a second account because they're like, when you do these type of deals, we'd like to make a second account to make it easier to do that sort of thing. It was like, okay, that doesn't make a ton of sense in the Phaethon. Thank you. That doesn't make a ton of sense in the lore of this game, but okay, I guess, whatever. We do it. And then the next major story event is we lost our famous Phaethon account. So you making the site account that the player gets to name now had a point. So there's huge amounts of that. There's huge redundant things of like, what's in the box? We need to get the box. These people paid us to get the box, but then it fell in the Hollow, and we get in the Hollow, but we didn't get the box when we got out, but now we need to get back in.
Yeah, everyone talks in circles like that. Constantly, and then you go out in the tiny little street of a town you have to wander around and have to do that sort of same conversation with every shopkeep.
Which to describe the town, it's actually much closer to in scale to like a Splatoon hub, where it's one really built street. Except for that's a lot more impressive than this street. A lot more impressive. And they build out all sorts of things on the street, like there's this person who runs the ramen shop, and then there's this arcade full of very, very bad mini games like Rattler. Did you want to play Snake in the year 2024, made roughly through mobile game tools like Unity? So this thing that I've been waiting to play for like 2 years, because they made a character action one of these. Like I liked free-to-play Korean action games back in the aughts. This might really tap into that energy. I barely got to play that. Most of it was the weird board game mechanic. A chunk of it was that. The majority of it is a horribly told story.
Yeah.
There's not even one part of it I can point to be like, here's an interesting thing to point out about, here's a protuberance that is unique. No. It's like the residual residue. It's the residue of every modern fiction thing just congealed into the, internet, but we're rebels and we dive.
there's zones in the city where they're not like the rest of the city. They're quarantined off because of some sort of magic field. So
and they go somewhere.
Yeah.
They go to the and I stress this. I cannot. You need to buy me. Like you need to give me full faith on what I'm saying right now. You go to the same 3 rooms.
Yeah. And they don't even look like they're some sort of cool room they made for like a special zone you're in. They look like a back lot at a shipping yard.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. So yeah, this game was really bad. I got really depressed. I'm gonna give it one more shot.
The character designs are so cool.
Yeah, no, the character designs are cool. The moves are cool. I like a lot of the things with it.
Yeah.
Playing it involves eating a brick full of crackers. Like, it's dire. It's dire. I've seen people who are like Hoyoverse junkies just drop it within 3 hours. Like,
right.
And obviously, Bob, you enjoy Genshin.
Yeah, I played over 200 hours of Genshin easy.
Yeah, I would say maybe even over 300.
Probably.
Frankly.
I played like 500. Like,
right?
I played that like a lot, and this thing's structure just is so like it's a mobile game structure. Like I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Like it's insane that they devoted the marketing cycle to this that they did when that's what it was. Like I'm genuinely perplexed they did this. Like they must have gotten this is a we got high on our own supply moment.
That's how it feels.
You know, I've heard people express it the way I was sort of viewing it. It's like the marketing department did their job.
Yeah.
They sold this game real hard. Mm-hmm. The problem is the game.
And it's so weird because I even, like, a few years back, I tried Honkai Third Impact, which they put on PC, but they never put on console. Mm-hmm. That has more structure to the levels. Mm-hmm. That is less 2 rooms of a shipping backyard.
Yeah, this is just
it
a wholly formed.
Yeah.
Like, not even just it's not done. It feels incomplete. It's not there. We gave it like 3.5 hours, it felt like. And it's just not coming together. And it's like, it's hard for me to say I need to give it more than that to see if it's ever going to feel whole. Mm-hmm. If it's ever going to feel like it gets the thing to focus on. Because if I were to describe things to you, it would sound like, okay, that could make a good game. But actually engaging with it is completely different and alien to the experience of describing the pieces. It's real weird. I'm going to try it one more time in my own time, not streaming.
Yeah.
Just because, man. Oof. And the board game where you move around on an X and Y axis is way too slow. I heard there's a speed up button that they added from the beta. We didn't find that. Playing.
I think it was holding R2 or something, but even that didn't feel like it was fast enough.
Yeah, it just needs to be snappier on that menu in general.
Yeah, the way that it even looks while playing it, when I saw you doing it, I was like, are you controlling that every time?
Yeah,
it just looks weird and incorrect.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. It's really weird.
And we call it a board game, but it's them doing a weird. It's almost like trying to be a dungeon crawler, but as we said before, with no mechanics.
And it's not first person; it's just the map from a dungeon crawler. You're moving from square to square,
like Chocobo Dungeon.
Almost, it's like an Inazuma Izuna the Unemployed Ninja type. Everything moves when you move.
Sheeran the Wanderer.
Yeah. Dan's a boomer, so we should say something he'll understand. It's like Azure Dream.
Thank you. Sheeran is older. 1, 2. Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
When is Pop and Start going to get really into Azure Dreams?
If I were to guess, never, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope people wake up to justice that is Azure Dreams. That game's damn cool.
And I was also hoping the action combat would be deeper, because it seems like, you have like 2 attack buttons and they don't hardly do much.
Not to be cruel, but I've seen so many people say that, and I can only turn into David Lynch. It's like, I'm sorry. It's like, you think there's gonna be a deep action game on a fucking telephone?
Chris, Devil May Cry on phones is way deeper. And I thought they would go
The one
try
with the
and approach
goofy
something like that.
cutscenes?
Yeah.
I would like to point out, because Bob, I know you know, and I know, and we have known, but most people may not realize there is a Devil May Cry phone game.
Yes.
A real phone game for the Devil May Cry series.
Yes, the Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. Way deeper.
Yeah, and that came out last year? Late last year?
Early this year or something.
One
like
of the
that.
two.
Yeah. It
Yeah, but I bet that game doesn't have 450 different playable characters.
It actually it has basically
no.
a different version of Dante for every weapon he's ever had, and then has that for like every character.
That's pretty
So you
Damn.
got Lady Trish, Virgil, Nero, all with tons of different variations. So
And, like, if you have a character you like in this game, visually, do not feel offended when I say this. I have a character, one, that I like in this game. But I will say, on average, the designs are a little weak.
They made a really bad choice in making one of the first ones they force you into Overwatch Deadpool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a mistake. I think that he's worse
Like,
than
that
basically
might
everyone
be-
else.
It is very rare that I look at something I'm like, cringe.
Jesus.
And that's all I can think of when I look at fucking Billy from Zenless Zone Zero. It's like, you suck. You're awful. Give me $200. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I really, I'm a heartbroken. I really was looking forward to this for what feels like about 2 years. Like, I feel like it was a 2022 summer reveal.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I didn't get it at Genshin just because I didn't jive with it. There's just a flow to it. And Honkai Star Rail came out at literally the worst time possible on console, when we were slipping into the deep morass of Game of the Year grind.
Yep.
Yeah, I might have to. If anything, Zenless Zone Zero will get me to go check out Star Rail.
Same.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not even expecting Zenless to be as complicated as the Devil May Cry game. That's actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
I just thought there'd be a jump button.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the lack
Yeah,
of a
that's
jump
weird.
button.
Genshin has a fucking jump button. Like,
Right?
I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's Breath of the Wild, so it has to be, but it does have combat applications too, limited as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested in Honkai Star Rail. It's a shame it's not eligible for this Game of the Year. That's okay. I'm sure I don't have that many RPGs to play this year, all launching on top of each other.
Let's see. You just have Dragon
Visions.
Quest 3,
Visions of Mana, East
Saga
10,
East 10. You should get
Romancing Saga
Trails into
2.
Daybreak. It's a great place to start the series.
I will consider that
I played almost to the end of the demo. Almost to the end of the demo, because that demo is like 10 hours long.
I will consider it sincerely once we get out on the other end of Like a Dragon. What? What's
So
wrong?
never.
What? No, we're beating Like a Dragon on stream, Bob. I don't know what you're talking about. Never. I gotta get that out of the way before all the other RPGs, and I gotta get those out of the way, so that way I can get to the fucking Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, the Unicorn Overlord, which is, I'm gonna be honest, I'm playing that off stream. I don't have to get Like a Dragon out of the way for that.
I counted. It's like I have to play Unicorn Overlord, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Trails Through Daybreak, East 10, Dragon Quest, Romancing Saga 2, Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Oh, God, that is coming out this year.
God, there's more that I was forgetting. I went and made a list.
Yeah,
No, there are a lot.
There's a lot.
I think I crunched out and was like, yeah, I have 500 hours of RPG that I have to beat before Game of the Year.
And the actual console release of Fantasian, they announced the day for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And if anyone here is going to go for it, Metaphor Refantasio.
That's what I'm forgetting. Fucking Metaphor Refantasio, great.
I'm going to let someone else step in that so I can figure out how that's going before I go all in, just because as much as I generally don't do this sort of thing, I think Chris really is right with the whole Atlas has trained us to not get the core game at launch.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. The stuff around SMT5 had this aura of like, this is the last time we're doing this. It'll be updates from now on.
I hope so. I just, with all the RPGs I have to play this year, Metaphor's got to compete with SMT5 to me, and that's rough. That's really rough because this is the version of SMT5 I wanted when SMT5 came out.
Right.
3 years ago.
It'd be, if it weren't $70, it'd feel way better.
Oh yeah. And I've seen this in a couple of places. No, I'm not playing the remake of Persona 3. I'm sorry to every Persona fan.
I don't think anyone
Sorry.
on here is doing that.
That would have happened if they called Spiff and me on our bet, but that didn't happen. I won that bet, and I'm not playing. Instead,
If
like
there
a dragon one.
I genuinely considered it, but then it's like, there's too much. I'm not going to play a game that is so deeply identical to the original in terms of script and everything, and is like in areas and everything, structure and everything. Like that game is a Kiwami situation, pretty much. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like there's too many new games for me to do that.
Right, and I kind of get why they did it with that one, because there isn't a good modern release of it. They ported over the PSP one, which has ups and downs. But it shouldn't have been as big a project as it was. It probably should have been a project where it released at $30.
Yeah, I feel like a much more Spartan release of that would be more appealing to me. It's a little hard to be like, please care about our visual updates, and it's not. It's a $70 game, and it doesn't look completely stunning. Like, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a Dragon Infinite Wealth kind of overall looks better than Persona 3 Remake, but that's still not even the thing that's getting me through it. The thing that's getting me through Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is that it's fucking great. And I don't know how good Persona 3 is, but if the Persona fan base is something to go by, it isn't Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
It's either the best one ever made or the worst one ever made. You just don't know.
Yeah, like I'm risking bodily harm by saying this. I bought the PSP version of was it 3 Golden?
Yeah.
Oh, that's 4 golden.
4
The
Golden's
4
on the Vita. 3 Portable is on the
just
PSP.
portable.
Yeah, because 4 Golden came out. I'm like, oh, but there's also 3. I want to play 3. I played that game for at least a few hours, and it wouldn't let me fucking play it, so I stopped playing it. That game's intro was too goddamn long.
Yeah, that sure is how it goes sometimes.
That is a thing with a lot of Persona games. Like, I feel like all 3, 4, and 5 all have that
all of them
issue.
take pretty long to get going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with this year's RPG lineup. Like, it feels so good. Because for the longest time, for Big Thinking, we've been doing this for 5 years, a little over 5 years now.
Yeah.
It feels like we were trying to convince people that turn-based RPGs are fucking wicked awesome and they should make more, right? And we won. This year's proof.
We did.
Yep.
It's pretty impressive.
JRPGs and 3D platformers. We're back, baby.
We're back. We're so back.
I need now that we have indies going into the PS1 and 64 era, we need indie RPGs to give up on the Super Nintendo and start going into that as well.
Yes.
Yes. No, it's true.
Yeah, now all I need is action games to come back and not be Souls games.
We're almost there. We're getting ever closer. Like each year, one more Soulsism falls out.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a person who doesn't heavily engage with any of these, just listening to you and Chris talk about them and just looking at trailers and stuff, it seems like the Soulsian influences are just waning over time. It's a bit more mild than it used to be.
Right, they're weakening.
Yeah, it's not as spicy.
I'm just waiting for them to give up on the look. Our checkpoints are diegetic and inside the actual game. And I'm like, okay, but in Souls those existed because there's big gaps between them for challenge, and so you could go do something else, like if you wanted to find gear. And like a straightforward action game, just give me an invisible checkpoint. Like there is. I thought the ones in Stellar Blade were very neat.
Yeah.
There is no reason those needed to exist outside of like the big open segments. Thank God there's a vending machine every 2 feet in this destroyed subway tunnel.
Yes.
With a camp.
Yeah, it is weird. But you need, because of the structure of a Souls-like thing, you need a place that recharges your heal Estus flask.
Yeah.
So you're stuck with them.
Just give those back whenever I die.
I mean, yeah. And they could also, you could, instead of having a full checkpoint you sit down at, just walk by a thing and it auto fills. It's not too complicated.
On the RPG thing, we forgot that fucking Deca Police is still supposed to be this year.
Yeah.
I
assume
forgot
that's
mostly
getting
because
delayed out of this year.
Exactly. That's my assumption too.
I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah.
Right.
That's like, yeah, like I guess they could announce a date at Tokyo Game Show, but I'm willing to bet that would be it's in 2024 in Japan.
Remember that time we got a game pushed out of last year in the last 2 weeks or 1 week of 2023?
I think that was also Deca Police.
Right?
I think that was also Deca Police.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like,
yeah,
wasn't that Deca Police? And we were just like, how did you not know, bro?
I wonder if we'll see it when they announce the Switch too. Because it was originally not the Switch thing.
That's possible. I don't know. It just seems like they're
but
trying to
it's on
ship it at all.
Yeah. Oh, and Renatus, but that I'll buy when it's $20. I'm sorry, you don't raise the level of all this other shit.
Oh yeah, is that a game you're going to talk about? Did you play any Renatus?
No, because I
was
did that
weeks
last
ago.
week.
Right. Okay. Instead of talking further about generic RPG talk of the year, because there's so much, let's talk about Like a Dragon Infinite.
Sure.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Talk about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Specifically, what other Yakuza games did you play?
I played all the way through Yakuza 2. And then I played the beginning few hours of 3, 4, Judgment 1 and 2, and 0. And I feel like none of it after 2 hooked me as well as Infinite Wealth did. Like, I feel like there was just a bunch of downtime at the beginning of those other Yakuza games that this doesn't have as much of.
Yeah, to give you frame of reference for me, when Like a Dragon 7, Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon came out, I was telling people, I'm like, this genre shift is probably going to deter some people who like more action games, and it's sort of for a different crowd. Hi, hello, I'm different crowd. Every time I watch Bob play a Yakuza game, I'm like, that seems neat. I'd rather kill myself than play that. There's just something about the combat to me where I'm like, I would watch someone play that. I don't want to. Now it's a turn-based RPG. I'm fucking winning.
Yeah, it's weird that it honestly seems like the Switch has given it more of an audience. To which I must bring up, it is completely insane, mind-numbingly, teeth-rattling. I feel like my senses are lying to me. Insane that we endured so many years of. Any abrasiveness whatsoever will chase away the quote-unquote casual gamer, but also turn-based games are gay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was mind-numbing for years. I had so many conversations with people who casually got into gaming during the PS1 era, especially, who then sort of got out, but were kind of still in. They're just like waiting for the game that looks good for them. Those giant sales of the original version of Final Fantasy VII, who they're fine with playing a turn-based RPG. They're not fine with playing an action game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think at some point these companies are going to have to grapple with the fact, like, guys, there is it doesn't matter how many baby mode easy the game plays itself shit you put into an action game. You're losing people by default by making it an action game.
Yeah,
and if you're transitioning a turn-based franchise to an action one, you're losing people no matter what. Because there's certain people, like, they want to be able to put the controller down and look at their phone. Like in the middle of something. Yeah. Like, that's a lot of people. I mean, like, you're cutting those people off. In fact, I'm willing to believe that's probably a pretty sizable amount of people who play games.
Probably.
Yeah, and it's funny, the more and more that became a thing, the less and less games you could do that with were a thing.
Where pausing, yeah.
Right.
Because like things like Destiny and other things that connect to online servers that don't want to actually have a pause function.
Yeah, and then of course the Souls influence again of like the game can't pause because that makes it harder. It was like, no, it's fine. They did that for the online stuff. You can pause. Pausing's fine.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Yeah. I really, and I cannot stress this enough, if you were hoping that Dan would play Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and fucking love it, you are correct. I fucking love this game. This is exactly what I want from games. Like it's really
all
fast.
the characters are great.
It's really fast. It's compact. It's got neat movement mechanics that don't go as insane as Residents of Fate. Because as much as Residents of Fate is absolutely my fucking alley, I know that's a nightmare.
No.
I look at that thing constantly, go, oh yeah, no, that's gonna be great. I'm gonna break my fucking legs playing this game. I'm just gonna crumple as a person. I will not be able to bear the weight of the mechanics of this game on my frame. Yeah, no, it's really, really good. It's got all these lean ideas, these neat ideas. There's the whole. So for reference, we've only played the first 5 hours. So this game came out months ago. I'm not really going to qualify anything that happens in the first 5 hours exclusively as important spoilers.
I mean, all of that was in that trailer I watched.
It's true. Various life things. Aggro, did you check out our stream? Have you looked into Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth at all?
No, I have not seen any of it.
In the first 5 hours of this game, our man Ichiban Kasuga panickedly proposes to a lady very poorly, says it's everything wrong humanly possible, loses his job getting people jobs, and then decides to pick up his barbed wire covered bat and become the hero of Yokohama again, where he has schizophrenic delusions of random street thugs being the Dragon Quest monster equivalents of themselves, to the point of looking at a thug and they become the equivalent of a trash bag slime.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Your job changes for each of these things, and it gives you different stats per level up, rank up of the job accordingly.
Like this game, that concept is so fucking beautiful and special. Do you remember the year Microsoft shows pretended it wasn't a turn-based game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it for two games now. It's so
UI.
weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Why do they keep doing that?
Because Americans hate turn-based games. And they make games for Americans.
We think.
Did Phil tell them this?
I guess.
For anyone who doesn't know, yeah, Microsoft got the marketing exclusivity on Like a Dragon 7 and 8, and both times they tried to strip out as much of the gameplay itself out of all the trailers and stuff as humanly possible. Really bizarre move. Truly bizarre move. But yeah, the character writing is absolutely fantastic. Only 5 hours in, and this thing has already pulled twists that are the most soap opera core shit I have ever experienced in a video game, aggro. In 5 hours, I have 75 to 95 to go. They're like reframing shit from the prior fucking game. They're like, you didn't know what happened right before you entered the room. And that changed the context of everything. Absolutely fucking hilarious. God, this game's damn good.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is that at some point it loses steam in its 80-hour runtime. That's always the fear in these insanely long things, I feel.
I think the 80 hours that people estimate do include the Animal Crossing island that is completely optional.
Okay, if it is including that sort of thing.
There's always a build, like, there's always so much optional shit in these games, like, that makes it like 3 times longer than it would have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I see Spiff in chat saying, really, really wish you could have played 7. You would have loved it. I'd say this with no sarcasm at all. Blame the Xbox. That was one of the 2 launch titles I was going to pick up on the Xbox, because I was like, this is the Xbox games. They got the exclusivity. This is going to be the definitive version. Then it came out. It wasn't the definitive version, and my Xbox wouldn't download the correct version of the game. So thank you, Series X. Anyway, it's been fine as someone who didn't play 7. It really has. At no point do I sit there going, oh my God, I'm so lost in this cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Characters are themselves, and they are self-evident because the writing is damn good. You know, you get really strong vibes from Nanba and Adachi immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing you really miss with 7 is like this you're playing this game where like a bunch of Puritans are protesting a brothel and the main character goes, let's go beat the shit out of them. And then you do. And I'm just sitting there like, no American game would ever have this as the core plot of the fucking game. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Nope. Ichiban is like, the fucking human embodiment. He's the embodiment of based. He really fucking is. He's not like, smart. He's not clever. He doesn't have good ideas. But his heart is true.
Yeah, I imagine if there's going to be any, you should have played the other games. It's going to be when Kiryu shows up.
See, then I can just do the, what was it, the man who erased his name or whatever? I can do that afterwards, and that'll be really funny.
I don't know. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. What you really have to play is Persona 4, because that's obviously who Kiryu's pretending to be in this one.
You're right. I don't have the full context until I do that. Oh, man. Yeah,
God. They need to edit out. We need a mod where he has the glasses from Persona 4 too.
Yeah, they should sell that as DLC.
They had the same company. They could.
I was going to say, I was thinking about it, and I realized checking out Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth for the first 5 hours, like that's the most enjoyable RPG experience I've had since Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I'm trying to think, because obviously I sat on Sea of Stars. Were there some other RPGs that were between these 2 points in time?
Oh, an actual release. I was like, there's been other great ones that I played earlier this year, like Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, but that's also like a tactics RPG. But yeah. I was just thinking like JRPG. Because
like turn-based ones?
Yeah, because 7 Rebirth is like
action, an action game.
And then Unicorn Overlord is it's like strategy.
And I mean, there's Octopath 2. That's pretty great.
That was last year.
Oh, well, it would have been between Xenoblade. No. I just anything between Xenoblade 3 and now because I haven't played a great Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, that's true. That's not
Trails. I'm gonna keep chilling Trail.
Who? What?
It's not real until daybreak.
That's true.
That's out. That came out today.
Oh, good for you. I have 100-hour RPG to go through first.
So do I. It's called Trails Through Daybreak.
That's true. That Saga game came out earlier this year, and I really wanted to play it.
Yeah, that's
another one on my backlog.
That also shipped on phones, and from everything I've seen and heard, like it's really on phones.
It is surprisingly high rent for a Saga game, though, and I continue to be impressed by that because that series doesn't get money. Just like Romancing Saga 2 is blowing our minds.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. At this point, I'm just kind of waiting for that.
Well, yeah, I think those are going to offer 2 pretty different experiences based on just fucking looking at it.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play this. I kind of wanted to do that for the next stream, but I don't know. Still kind of undecided. Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to say about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth?
I think that mostly the combat system is good, but the camera makes it way worse than it needs to be. Because a lot of times the camera will get stuck in a wall and like do a perfect guard, and like I can't even see him. All I see is the back of his head.
He's literally behind you, punching you in the kidneys. You're like, sir, please.
I'm like, you feel like wouldn't be that hard to have a camera system that actually snapped out a little bit farther.
I think the funniest thing in that regard was that time I tried to use a special move, and since the enemy was too close to the wall of the room, my guy just kept backing up into the wall, being like, I need more space.
Yeah.
I need more space. And after trying for like 10 seconds, he gave up and just used the skill anyway.
Right. And it's those sort of things of when you make a system like this where enemies can move around in real time and you can move around in real time.
Yeah.
There are difficulties you run into. I understand why you do it. It's an interesting thing to do.
Unlike in Resonance of Fate, which is the perfect JRPG with the movements.
You're right, Dan.
Did you ever want to do trigonometry to play a JRPG? I'm seeing someone bring up .hack, and I don't want to think about that while I think about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and think about the massive chasm in quality and money the 2 franchises have received.
Yeah.
People were saying this is like the best-selling Yakuza game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. How much do JRPGs have to win before people finally get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's
Maybe-
a tipping point enough that new Final Fantasy can be turn-based. I don't know.
Maybe the next Xenoblade game is like absolutely insane because you know it's gonna look nuts.
Oh god, if they just went to real turn-based system, they would be so much better.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it enough as it is. I do wonder what strictly turn-based game from them would be like because they haven't done that.
I mean, yeah, they did with ZzZzZ.
Yeah, that guy did with ZzZzZ. That's not the same company, though.
It's true.
I wonder. Anyways, I'm excited to play the next 95 hours of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and kill the timer in a single week. Did you want to say anything else before we move on?
Nah.
Oh, in Dagro, you buy all of your battle equipment from a sex shop. Anyways, Bob, what did you want to talk about?
No, hang on. Just because all of it, like, it's not all sex equipment, right? Or it all shouldn't be. Because I know specifically you said he has a baseball bat covered in barbed wire. And, brother, I don't know how you get down at home, but...
let me put it this way. We had 2 key accessories on Ichiban. They were both rings, metal rings that promote circulation. And his weapon before he picked up the metal bat and became the hero of Yokohama again. He was using a giant back massager. Back massager.
Mm-hmm.
For hitting people.
Wacky.
I mean, this was just the first shop in the game.
Obviously, Hawaii will be different.
There's going to be something other than sex shops, right?
We only touched foot in Hawaii, and then we moved on to Zenless Zone Zero. A fucking mistake, I might add.
Touched a foot.
There'll probably be a segment where you meet some quirky character who will make you gear.
Where you meet Gat, and he's got like a 4-foot purple dildo.
Yes.
Jesus.
I think since Embracer, I think still technically. Oh no, maybe all their IPs are now Take-Two, or not Take-Two, but 2K, because they got shoved under Gearbox, and then Gearbox went to 2K.
Yeah,
I feel like Johnny Gat is up there with Duke Nukem, where like you can make most games funnier by just inserting him somewhere into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And it's 2K, right? They own BioShock, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Gat mode would save the new BioShock.
Yes, it would.
There you go. We solved the problem right there. How's this better than Judas? Sit your ass down, because I'm about to tell you.
Aren't they also doing Judas? So Judas gets Duke Nukem, and BioShock gets Johnny Gat.
I am not sure Duke Nukem being in Judas would alter the tone at all.
God damn, they're trying to cancel me.
Yeah, that fits way too well.
Give a down vote to this, you alien bastards.
Why is that guy in our colony just calling us an alien bastard? Where is he from? Anyway. Bob.
Yeah.
The transition from Like a Dragon 8 to Zenless Zone Zero was the harshest downgrade I've ever experienced in a stream and gave me depression.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we already talked about Zenless Zone Zero, so let's talk about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
God.
Fun fact, I beat Luigi's Mansion 2 when it came out on my 3DS. I wrote an entire review, and then I said life's too short and didn't make the review. Pastan was right. This HD version fixes literally nothing.
Yeah, it's like they set out to do nothing. Like, that seems to be the goal.
It is $60, and that is highway robbery for what they've done with this game, which is break the music in segments, ruin the lighting decisions in segments, add more polygons and higher quality textures, and then ship it for $60 fucking dollars.
What I absolutely love about this game is that I've seen maybe 10 seconds of footage of it. My only association with it is helping Dan build a shitty chair out of 2x4s and nails in the middle of summer. And from everything I've heard about it, playing the game is pretty close to that experience.
No, it was true. I had more fun. I had more fun with the chair, frankly, just because.
Oh my God.
I forgot that chair was for that review.
Right? I'd seen the chair.
I now remember.
Man.
Let no one ever accuse me of being someone who wants to spend their time being upset at things. I don't go out of my way to do it because I have literally written multiple reviews and then just not done them because it's not a thing that deserved to be swung at. And why would you spend so much time articulating disappointment? Not grand travesty, not love, but just disappointment.
It's funny now, having played the game, the trailers they made for the Nintendo Directs make a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense we didn't get a big Nintendo Direct about this game, too.
Oh, yeah, it does.
There basically aren't cutscenes, so of course they had nothing to show.
Yeah, they're...
Yeah, Dan, it was so rough that Dan posited this and that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD exist because they cooked up some sort of tool for porting 3DS games to the Switch and injecting higher quality assets. And that's really what it feels like.
Because for people who don't know that sounds outlandish that's literally what Sony made with the PSP. That's what the Dracula Chronicles or whatever they called that Castlevania thing on PS4, Requiem, that has Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood on it. That's just a PSP emulator. You're just playing the ISO for Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP, but they've removed the 3D game. Because they're monsters.
Yeah.
Nintendo has a pretty good tech background in their European offices, especially.
Yeah.
So I definitely could see some tools that were there for fast-tracking ports like this. The 3DS version apparently is going to be the basis for Donkey Kong Country Returns because it has the extra content that was exclusive to the 3DS version. Weirdly enough, though, that's 60 frames per second. And Luigi's Mansion 2 is still 30. And
Nintendo knew the score.
Yeah, they...
One of these is a real game. The other's a filler for our fucking our calendar.
What a nightmare.
I already traded this game in.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even GameStop knows that it shouldn't have lost its price. Any other Nintendo game, right at launch, or even like a few weeks later, like was Paper Mario, it gets like $37 trading credit.
Yeah.
This got $27 trading credit.
Yeah. They know the scale.
Yeah.
They know the odds.
Like they can sense it of like, oh, this isn't a real game.
So there aren't cutscenes really for the story, but there are vignettes where it's like, oh, Luigi sticks his face up to the glass and he sees a funny, zany cartoon. The thing is, all of them are kind of dependent on the 3D on the 3DS screen to work to be impressive.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so I had to keep doing the, like, flashing light thing and telling the audience, this is supposed to be 3D. You are very impressed.
I don't get why they did this instead of 1. Even the 3DS version of 1.
I think because that would look really unimpressive compared to the GameCube one. Like, no matter how much, if you take the bones of a 3DS game, no matter how much sprucing up you do in the port, it will not look as good as an insanely high fidelity GameCube game. Which, say all you want about Luigi's Mansion 1, that thing has polygons out the ass. That thing looks fucking insane. Which was like its only job, so it was respectable. Even still, a better game than Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah, of course.
I swung way too lightly at Luigi's Mansion 2 last year during Luigi's Mansion month. I should have swung way harder. Past me was right. He went too easy on the game. The game is just depression. $60 for the Spartan package that is the most warped version of the blueprint for 3 imaginable is insane. Just play Luigi's Mansion 3 or 1. Please. Do not play Luigi's Mansion 2 unless you have played both other games and you are fiending. is the only reason. That's it. And to keep in mind, because you may not realize this, I really enjoy 1 and 3. Immensely enjoyable games. I love them so much. Do not play 2. 2 is terrible.
Yeah, it's like they took out all the charm and replaced it with nothing.
With wood pulp.
Yeah, wood pulp and a weird mission structure that's literally just like, oh,
To
yeah,
waste time. Because this game is like 12, 11 hours.
Yeah, it's longer than the other 2. Either one. It's longer than 3, and it has nowhere near the content of 3.
So yeah, I definitely do not recommend Luigi's Mansion 2. They definitely shouldn't have charged $60 for this. This just makes me more concerned about, the Donkey Kong Country Returns remaster and how that's going to go and look. Please just play Luigi's Mansion 3. It's a really enjoyable game. Any other comments?
Not really.
I figure I'll explain the music glitch at the end of the level. It's supposed to play a little fanfare and then a theme. They filled the air gaps because they glitched with Professor Egad's theme just playing in between 2 different tracks and then at the end while you're teleporting out. So it's just a horribly broken soundscape. That was not a problem in the 3DS original version. They banged it up on release and still charged $60. This isn't even Nintendo-like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Remember, Metroid Prime Remastered came out for $40 last year?
Yes. Last year. $40.
That has actual improvements.
Yeah.
And good-looking new visuals.
Uh-huh.
What is happening?
I don't know.
It's a Mario character, so we can get away with it.
Because, yeah, if I remember, this port was done by Tantalus, if I remember correctly, and the Donkey Kong Country Returns is being done by Forever Entertainment. So they're just outsourcing these ports using, seemingly, their own internal tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll know for sure if this is real if the Fire Emblems pop up. Like, I feel like that's such a likely thing. If this tool exists, there's no way those aren't, like, in the top of what they'd be doing.
Yeah, because there's no reason to not get a quick $60 off of a late Switch entry port.
When what they should be giving us is Kid Icarus.
Yeah, but then you have to figure out the
harder.
controls.
No, then you have to actually think about stuff.
You have to do
not
things.
just
You
the
might want a
controls,
designer
but you
or
have
something.
You have to figure out how to also convey like the visual novel shit that's on the other screen while you're running around in a level.
Yeah.
Which admittedly on this, the map was properly put on the screen. That would have been on the lower screen before.
That's true. So there is a
but
little bit of work put there.
It's just a little bit, the tiny bit.
To which I would respond like, their voice acted just like
Just
all the
put
dialogue in that game's voice act, just put like them down in the bottom corner or something.
Yeah, absolutely. That should be good enough. But yeah, I would really like ports of those 3DS Fire Emblems. I always hear good things about them. They did pretty well, and I don't want to use the 3DS ever.
Yeah, bare minimum do that last one they did that's a remake of 2.
Yeah, I keep hearing good stuff about that, but that was one of those, we shot it out the door last second sort of the one. So
yeah, it literally came out a year into the Switch.
It's not a year. I think it was the same year. I think it was like mid to 2017. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. It was in the first year, like 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. It was the same year as the Switch.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
That and then they follow up fucking Brothership with here's 3DS remake. Here's like the port remakes of the old ones.
No, I don't want a bad port of a bad remake of a good game.
But what if?
No.
That's all you get.
But that's here's Yoshi's New Island HD.
I'm losing vision. Oh my God, Bob! What do you played other games? Do you want to talk about them?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I tried Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess.
Neat.
They put that out, a demo, a pretty sizable demo. I think it was like 2 hours worth of play or so.
Cool.
To really give you a good sense of what this is. As I kind of suspected from those other trailers we saw, this is a tower defense game mixed with an action game. So you have 2 phases. You prepare for the monsters that are going to attack at night during the day. And it's actually all real time. Like you have to run around this large zone, freeing villagers who can turn into like combat units and command around, and purifying other parts of the map to get currencies that you can use to upgrade those villagers into better things to fight off the monsters that show up. Weirdly, the story in this is all told without any sort of talking dialogue, anything like that. So there's no voice acting period other than like grunts and stuff. And there's hardly any cutscenes. It's in what is there, it's kind of like just characters walk up to thing. The demon door opens. Level starts. So it feels really Spartan in that regard.
Wasn't the whole team and the director like on some mobile thing before this?
I believe that they worked on that weird undersea diving mobile game that they made. I can never remember the name of that. I never tried that out either. The action game combat's really simple. It's very much like a Dynasty Warriors. You have your like 5-hit combo, and then the triangle button will switch it to a different attack on each one. So if you're like, oh, this is the one you use for when there's a group of enemies around you. This is the one that gets you in air to hit aerial enemies. Super simple stuff there. So if you were coming to this like, oh man, well, it's a Capcom action game, it'll be cool from that regard. No, not really.
Why is this what I'm coming back to?
But it does do the basic tower defense stuff well, though. Like at any point you hit the R1 button to pull up your tactical menu and just command around all your units. You can select between them pretty easily using the L1 and R1 to like switch which one you're selecting, and then just click like real time in the area, and the villager will run there, and you see their zone of like effectiveness. Like you'll get the villagers that you turn into an axe, a woodcutter, and he's a melee one, and there's one that does like, oh, they freeze enemies in place, and another one that heals your allies. And the whole point is like, there's a demon door at the end of the stage, and you're trying to walk your goddess there, your priestess. So she's making a path. A path of a goddess.
It's a path of the goddess.
And she'll dance there slowly, very slowly. And the currency you can get by killing enemies and wandering around this place and purifying it during the day is what you use to make her pass. So it literally drains the currency there, or for upgrading your tower equivalent, which are the villagers. Which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
The only problems I really had with it were a lot of times the visual are little too vague. Like a lot of the daytime gameplay is looking around the environment for stuff that is like tainted by demons so you can purify it. And the whole stage is kind of made to look like it's tainted by demons and looks similar. So it's a bunch of like just staring at something over and over again, like that's the thing I can actually purify. Okay. And that's not good when there's such a tight time frame for how much time I have to run around for these daytime parts of the mission.
Yeah, you have Dandori issues here. You need to be on top of that.
You
should play Pikmin.
I was like, what the heck is a Dandori?
If you played Pikmin 4, you would know.
And you have a mini map, but the mini map doesn't actually highlight any of these things because they want it to be a mystery, I think. But it does come off as like, you should probably label those. There are also boss stages, which is really a weird concept in this. Because the rest of the game is these pretty large areas that keep getting bigger and bigger as I went. And then the boss stage was like, there is going to be one dude. Here is some currency to make some villagers into different classes so you can help you to run this fight.
Yeah, tower defense games have bosses.
Yeah, the Pixel Junk Monster games definitely did too.
They have like separate zones for that?
That's the part that's weird.
Yeah, that's the part.
It's a separate zone instead of the final wave.
Right, because there's the waves will keep getting harder and harder, and we'll sometimes have like a bigger dude, but there's actually just a level you go into, like, this is the level for the boss fight.
Which is probably for the best. That probably mitigates a lot of the frustration the other method would have.
It's true.
So for the boss, it doesn't have a day cycle. They just give you your resources for the boss.
Yeah, you just tiny little boss room. Here's your resources. Do it. Yeah, it's
I'm
weird.
Super glad there's a demo for this because you could explain this to me all day and I wouldn't know till I got my hands on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm really interested in what you're describing here.
Right.
And this is multiplayer too, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So this is
just single player, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, the early trailers, we were also like, is this also a multiplayer
Right,
thing? Kind of like what you
right,
did with
Exoprimal.
Exoprimal being Dino Crisis, but actually not at all.
Yeah, so I think this game is really neat. But it is like, it's kind of hard to sell at $50. Like, I do get much more like this should be a $30 or lower sort of price point. This feels like a Pixel Junk Monsters.
Yeah, like I said this on some of my streams this week, but it's like the biggest thing that pisses me off about the $70 game is not even the $70 game. It's that 40 has become 50.
Yeah, you can tell they put a decent bit of money into a lot of this. Like, there's a ton of animation for all these characters. There's a bunch of like between missions, you go to your home base, and they've modeled a bunch of different foods you can feed your goddess. And also you get different subas for your sword. Those are intricately modeled and all that.
Go
sort of
back.
stuff.
How elaborate are the goddess feeding animations and our tacos on the menu?
Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, well, now that he's bringing up tacos, we have a game to
When
directly
you
Put
compare
the
it
cake
to.
down on the table. She reaches down and grabs it from off screen and folds it up.
With her hand.
Yeah, with her hand.
With her fucking hand.
With her hand. That's it. It's over.
Okay.
There's no-
Now, Nintendo, Kid Icarus Uprising Switch port, you include the Feed Palutena mode. 100 million copies sold.
Yeah, no, those sickos will buy 3 apiece.
I'm sickos.
Please, my father was called Mr. Sickos.
Like, here's my dad, and it's like that guy from the Kelly comic, but he's in like 1880s and has like slicked hair and a handlebar mustache.
Yes. Oh man.
Because it's got this weird mix of action game and tower defense. The buttons are so condensed that the dodge button is on L3, which is
The
not
dodge button is on L3?
Yeah, they have so many functions that even I was like, I get why you did it.
Yeah.
It's not good though.
I see how you cornered yourself into this corner, but man, you're doing some fucked up shit.
It's not a good corner to be in.
Yeah.
It's a dodge that you can only do very infrequently too. It's one of those where you shouldn't be relying on it. And you have a block
Okay.
button. That's what they probably want you to use more.
Okay.
Yeah, all in all, I'm just like, it $50 is a hard sell. This is a really neat concept, but there's like no story happening to keep me pushing through it. And yeah, I don't know. I probably will pick this up eventually. It's on Game Pass though, so that's another demotivating factor too. Like, no, you should just get a once of that and play it through. Which that killed Exoprimal partially, other than Exoprimal being Exoprimal. So hopefully they learned the lesson after this one.
Yeah. Maybe, here's a radical concept. Maybe they should put a story in their games.
That
Because
would help.
Exoprimal allegedly had a story.
Right. And there's very decent number of cutscenes, and then they locked it behind the multiplayer and the same horrible stuff that happened with Titanfall 1. Of like, oh yeah, you need to find a match, and you need this exact number of people, and all sorts of things. Yeah. So I'm still kind of excited for it, but it's definitely not priority for me. And also, it's not getting a physical release. Like, this is only digital, so I can't just be like, oh, I'll pick it up during Black Friday. It'll be on sale. It'll be on sale eventually, I guess, but...
Yeah, maybe. Don't worry, it'll be on PS Plus Fucky Wucky in like 6 months. And you can be like, Dan, can I use your PS Plus Fucky Wucky to play it instead of getting PS Plus Fucky Wucky myself?
Did they ever put the Exoprimal on that? I don't think they did.
I think
On
they
Plus
did.
Plus? I don't know. I actually tried out 2 new VR rhythm games this week.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to give them a little bit more time before I talk about them at depth, but I figure I will describe one of them. I want to make sure I get the name correct, though, so I'll let you go to your next game.
Sure.
I'll try to double verify that fucking name.
I also tried The First Descendant. This is another...
I love that. Okay, Bob. All I saw you say on Twitter was someone replying to you going, You mean the first Descendant? Because apparently you miswrote as Last Descendant. You're
Yes.
like, I don't know how I made that mistake. And I'm like, honestly, either could have been the
Right, they both such plain titles. Last Descendant sounds cooler in my head.
Yeah, because that has a meaning. First Descendant's like, good job, you had a kid. Like, I don't... They descended from me. Yeah, it's called childbirth. The doctor saw it. This isn't a miracle.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, Bob.
So I have to be extra careful every time I read the name because my eyes will autocorrect.
Yeah, you're like, nah, here's much better name.
This is a game I played 2 years ago or something, I think. And before I upgraded my PC, a beta happened. So I got to play it back then. But now it's on PS5 and it's out. And everything should be better.
Yeah, because the PS5 is a lot more powerful than the PC you were using then, because you had a 1060.
Right?
Yes.
But this is, for people who don't know, another free-to-play game that launched this basically the same day as Zenless Zone Zero. But this one is a Korean version of Destiny.
Oh, God.
That's it. It's third person. That's basically the only difference you really need to know. And they have characters you select, kind of like Overwatch, but everything is still way more like Destiny. Of like, no, everyone uses the same, just regular guns. Like you just have your machine gun, your rifle, your pistol, normal guns. And then you have your abilities there, your super moves. Like I chose the Ice Girl. She can throw like ice shards and run on the ground and make ice coals on the ground.
Okay.
They'll freeze people. So very, very... And then the style is also extremely Destiny. Just, oh yeah, it's sci-fi with a little bit of mysticism. And you are literally like playing as people who are empowered by some mystical being from the past. And basically guardians in the last bastion of civilization for humanity.
Guardians, you say.
So extremely Destiny-like. This game actually opens up and has like an opening mission that's pretty decent.
Okay.
Where it's a very constricted area. It's like very linear, and it's just a basic shooter. And then the first thing you do is go to old Russia, and it's just a bunch of blown out buildings.
And it looks cool like Destiny, right?
And it looks terrible. But it's all on UE5, so it's high fidelity. It's extremely...
Where's my Digital Foundry video? A UE5 game has been out for minutes.
If you look in the Big Think dimension, I posted a picture of the main villain. He looks like a GPU cover.
One moment. In the document for news?
No,
or the
just
channel?
in the channel.
Okay, one moment. Oh, that guy.
Yeah. Every little like armor piece on this dude, he's got a bunch of little rivets and stuff. All of them move.
Ooh.
He's just a tech demo.
The
dude is just a walking tech demo.
Hell yeah. Look at that. That dude's got fucking definition.
So the graphics are very high fidelity.
Okay.
In that opening video area that's highly linear, it ran pretty well. It was locked 60 or so.
Oh, that's great.
Good news. I'm sure everything will continue this way forever. Podcast over.
As soon as I get to this slightly bigger area, it's not even that big. Let's be very clear here.
No, sorry, Bob. Aggro said it.
We're had to get here. It starts running between 60 frames per second and about 15. Just wildly swapping.
That's really unfortunate.
And all I can think is, why? What for who does this pursuit of high-end graphics help? You don't look especially good. You look insanely generic, and you run like this, but it's okay. This game has frame gen.
Oh no.
Before I even turn the frame gen on, just so we're clear, the TAA is so bad, everything turns to mush.
Oh, I'm screwed.
It's just goo.
This is
It's a
terrible.
grassy field that is bleeding into your arms at all times.
For anyone who doesn't know what frame gen is, that is where your GPU guesses at what the in-between frames are, just like a TV has that high frame rate mode, or people make 60 frames per second anime. So you could frame gen your way from 15 frames per second to 30.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you
Except
can.
for when you turn on features like that, it actually causes the performance to go down.
Yeah, so it actually it doesn't even look smoother. It actually made me a little sick. I'd never seen it implemented quite this bad because every frame is stuttering. Like you turn the camera I know that's a wild idea in a video game.
Yeah, why are you doing that? You're choosing exclusively bad use cases. You're a bad actor in this space because you turned the camera in a video game.
So literally every silhouette of every object has an extra outline next to it. And it looks like it's freezing for a millisecond every frame. It looks terrible.
Sounds terrible. Oh my god. So about how people chasing the highest fidelity on Unreal Engine 5 are just going to turn out the worst looking games now.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't know why you do this.
Because you convinced yourself it's the only way forward to be the most stunning game humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
You backed yourself once again into a weird corner, pulled out a knife and said, I'll kill you.
Right.
Don't kill me.
It seems like it couldn't possibly be what anyone wants. But here we are. It's still a gacha game, so but I guess you could just get currency to then buy characters or something, because I just was able to look at a character shop to see all the different characters, and they all kind of look plain. There's like a girl who wears a bunny robotic suit, which is probably the fanciest thing we got going on. There's a bunch of dudes who look almost identical. There's like 3 different guys that all look like that Adam from Stellar Blade, just in different outfits.
Okay, well, at least Adam's hot. That's anything,
I guess.
No one in Zenless was as hot as Adam.
I always thought Adam looked real generic, but I understand why people like him. But yeah, if you want the 3 of that same guy, then force one who has slightly longer hair. Not too long. We can't have long hair. That's
hard to render.
It's hard to render.
Why are you trying to ruin things with your hair?
And that's all I really got to say.
I got to tell you, this bunny girl just looks like someone, like some chick is cosplaying Frank from fucking Donnie Darko, but cyber.
Yeah, none of them.
I need to show this image so people can understand.
The style of everything in this is super muted, like super afraid to actually be cool. Like that's the main takeaway of like, no, it wants to be realistic.
Yeah.
I tried to resolve that visor into the lower part of a human face for a second there and just about had a stroke.
And congrats, you know what a machine learning AI thinks when it tries to do anything. Bub, did you have anything else to say?
Not about that, no.
Okay.
So if you want to go for yours, go for it.
Yeah, I actually did pull it up. I'm going to pull up the image again because I think that'll help me talk about this. So, Aggro, as a sophisticated gentleman who understands the appeal of VR, by the way, it's the 5th of July, which is equally a holiday to detonate fireworks.
Yes.
In case you're hearing a little bit of that in the podcast audio and going, what the fuck?
Yeah, the sun finally went down, so they're like, we got to do it now.
Do it now. You understand the important thing that is every trailer for a VR game will look like shit.
Oh, yes.
It will literally be as close to the experience of you playing it as someone handing you a design document most of the time, where you just have to give them good faith. Because of PlayStation Plus, I played a rhythm game this week called Synth Riders that had been out since, I think, the PSVR 2 launch.
Oh, wow.
Or only a couple months after, because I saw the trailer and I was not confident. However, this game's pretty fun. It's called Synth Riders. There was a PSVR 1 version, but at least I'm pretty sure there was. This is the game, okay? Imagine,
oh, yeah, this one.
Right. Imagine you're going down a track, a rhythm game style track, and in the air above it are these roots for either your left or right hand, color-coded. They're either balls in midair or actual root combos like you're seeing here with the bulbs every so often. And so you're just whipping your arms around in midair in order to catch those as you go down the road at a very high speed. It sounds like a really basic concept, right? You could see how maybe I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a game I absolutely need. I'll go ahead and pull out a second image that has a little bit better fidelity, because that one's definitely pretty rough. Yeah, this one's good enough. This game is, once again, all VR games suffer from that. I feel like this suffers more than most. This game's really fun. It's just got some really cool scoring mechanics, lots of difficulty settings. The menu's a little finicky / glitchy. But it's a really fun game. It's got cool environments, and the mechanics of throwing your arms in different directions and chaining them and then combining both your hands into one spot to grab golden ones and shit like that and moving to the rhythm and stuff. It's really cool. This is a really enjoyable rhythm game. I'm going to give it even more time going forward, and hopefully, there's a scaling up in what it's capable of that gets even better from here. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about with that. There was another rhythm game I tried this week, but I need to try it out in non-VR before I talk about it, because I want to give fully resolved impressions on that before I talk about it at all. Bob, what else did you play?
I also picked up Sekiro again, as I talked about last week. I finished it. I'm pleased to do it again because I couldn't stop myself. I realized I played this game like a total weirdo, where they give you fast travel from the very start of Sekiro. So I end up playing every zone at once. Just, I hit this checkpoint, I'm trying to teleport to that one, get to that boss, and then I see him. I'm going to go teleport to the next one, get to that boss before I fight any of them.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
Yeah. And so I just go around collecting literally every item and be like, okay, here's all the pieces, put them in my arm.
You sound like you're playing this more like what is the shooter game from Far Cry? You're like Far Crying this. You're just like, I need all these waypoints.
Yeah,
this is important.
The waypoints.
It's kind of how I did Ghost of Tsushima, so that way it's like, oh, you're going to meet me at the north end of the continent. I'm already there. Nice cutscene, bro.
It's always fun to come back and realize how much you can just bully some enemies. Like, a lot of them just don't know what to do if you just keep hitting the attack button.
Oh, wow, really?
They're just like, oh no, he figured out that I can't block.
He saw right through me.
And that's most of the normal enemies. When you actually have to fight like bosses and stuff, of course that doesn't work, but it's still it's kind of funny. I still like a lot of the bosses in this game. The only one I dislike still is the fire demon, which I talked about way back when I went through this the last time.
When was that?
It was when the PS5 first came out, because that's when the game started running well.
Yeah.
And for context, this time I'm playing it my old PC version, which is the first way I bought it. But now there's a mod out to make it run at 120 frames per second.
Nice.
Which definitely helps it a lot. It still has some weird stutters and stuff because it's a PC version. I guess they're just
that's okay. I'll just frame generate.
Yeah, that'll fix stutters
from 120 to 240, and it'll look perfect.
And funnily enough, the Sekiro mod for this is something you run every time you've turned the game on.
Really?
And the same one you use for Elden Ring.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, that's really funny. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of cool little character interactions all around the game world. It feels like some of them are kind of incomplete, and it would have been nice to have a DLC for this game too, but that just didn't happen. It's like the only FromSoft game that didn't get a big DLC.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing that makes you go, did Activision cause this?
Right.
That is what I would assume, because they're Activision.
Yep.
I hope they don't have the IP. I don't know. It's always unclear with that stuff.
Do.
Yeah, I don't know why else they would have worked with them, because originally this was going to be a Tenchu.
Mm-hmm. But then the weird thing with the Tenchu license is that FromSoft might own it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they own it at least in their home territory, but since they want to do a global release, I think the rights to publish it in America or something might be with Activision.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unclear. All of that's unclear. It'd still be really cool to see a sequel. I don't know if they'll ever make one. Yeah.
At least that's possible now, because if they had named this Tenchu, then getting something closer to Tenchu never would have happened.
Right. Yeah, and it's also good they didn't name this Tenchu. A lot of my initial impressions of this game were like pretty negative because the thought of it was trying to be Tenchu. Because if you play it like a Tenchu and trying to be stealthy everywhere, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like once you kill somebody, you basically, they all know you're there and you got to either get out or kill them. Whereas in Tenchu, the whole thing is, oh yeah, you want to be stealthy at all times. If they spot you, it's you can get away and then hide and then, you know, like other stealth action games, then re-engage after you've already lost them.
Yeah.
And that's not really a thing in this.
Not so much.
No. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about Sekiro. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. It's one of the less popular of these FromSoft games. It's funny how much the what's that wiki that they all of them use?
I know who you're talking about. It's from Bad Takesman.
Yeah.
Who's like, Armored Core 6 doesn't look nearly as good as other FromSoft games. It looks positively terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's George Lucas. I don't know why I'm doing Fextra Life.
Yeah, Fextra Life. But like it has the least updated of any of the tutorials.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Their documentation on Sekiro isn't very up to date?
It's real bad in a lot of ways. And I'm like, most of these bosses, I have better strategies just from playing it than I read on here. It's like, oh yeah, if you do this, you can get her to poison herself in the swamp and you just have to wait like an hour. And that's the cheesy message. It's like, you didn't mention the fireworks on the character? You just write about the poison? Okay. That doesn't make sense, but sure.
Oh yeah, that's true. The craziest part of the Fextra Life thing was that they insisted they should upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 for Armored Core 6 because it doesn't look as good as modern games.
I don't want to see FromSoft use Unreal. Good lord. There's no way that goes well. As far as other stuff I played, Ninja Gaiden, the Master Ninja Collection went on sale for Steam. And I was like, well, people have been making mods for this. People have made a mod to try and turn Ninja Gaiden 2 into Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 Black. To try and make it more like the original release on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
So I tried that out.
Uh-huh.
It restores a lot of the original gore. They change the enemy locations and damage values and all sorts of stuff. And it's kind of neat. And they're also like, I improved the lighting.
Did they?
They basically broke it.
On a highly related note, Bob, did I show you that there's a community effort to make an RTX mod of Sonic Adventure 1?
No, that's hilarious.
I have never seen Sonic or his rings look so green in my life because there's so much green around.
God.
It was pretty funny.
That is really funny.
It's cute. I want to play through it.
But yeah, it's funny because a lot of the people making monsters are like I turned off all the bloom. And it's like, yeah, the game was kind of designed with that in mind, and it looks real weird without it.
So you look at fucking Ryu Hayabusa's face, and you can see every pore.
Ryu himself looks like his skin is just the wrong tone entirely. It looks like he's black.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, it looks very strange and incorrect.
Okay, I could see how video game bloom would do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then his eyes are just glowing white. And I'm like, how did you make this up so bad? Because there's like only reflections on his eyes now.
Jesus Christ. He's just a purely black object in silhouette in the darkness. And they're like, oh, fuck, it's Ryu, run. You're a horror movie villain.
Holy shit. I don't know, man. At that point, I'm like, don't run. It'll be so much worse if you run.
Yes. I mean, this is the one that kind of does turn him into a horror movie villain as he's ripping people apart.
Yeah, well, limbs got to come off.
Yeah. And the work for doing the gore stuff had been done by other modders, and this person just implemented it into their mod. Whoever did that did a really good job. Like, actually got all the original stuff, and it looks very much like it did on the 360.
Hell
release.
yeah! Wow, that's impressive. Because they took out dismemberment in the Sigma version or whatever, right?
They left dismemberment, but they took out the blood and they made the energy spew out, and then instead of like all the when you suffered an arm or something, it'd be like a completely clean, like weird wound, like a lightsaber almost.
Super censored anime with the light, like whoa,
not light blowing out, but like imagine a seared wound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was always very strange. They made it look magical almost. Like, oh, their arm doesn't sit on the ground. Their arm vaporizes in energy after Ryu cuts it off.
This is doing a really good job of contextualizing Ninja Gaiden 3's edge.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was they're like,
that was
no,
their course correction.
Uh-huh.
Then Ryu starts stumbling around and bleeding horribly, and oh, it's so crazy.
Even on the mod page, he's like subjective next to the improved lighting. It's like improved lighting, subjective.
That's good. I appreciate that. God bless the person who's like, yeah, improved. Let me just put the word subjective next to that one.
And the weird thing, it's working on. You would think they just cut off the levels that they add for ladies, but for some reason, it's like you play as Ryu in those now. It's like, dude, I don't. The problem is that I don't want to play is the ladies. The problem is I don't want to play the level. Like I feel like that's highly misguided. Like I don't think the general fan opinion is, oh, I hate playing as Ayane. It's
her levels suck.
Right. It's her level's not good.
Yeah. Probably.
Which honestly, I even think the ones in Sigma 2 are not bad compared to the ones in Sigma 1 where you play as Rachel. Like that was really bad. They actually made new areas to go through into.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask if you were just retreading the same old areas like in 1.
Yeah, and instead it's like new areas and old zones. So they get to reuse assets, but they actually have to make new areas.
They got to make a new road.
Right, it's a new road in that place. But yeah, I need to play more of this. It seems really neat. It is not a complete mod though, so I might just wait on longer. I didn't think I'd be buying this for a lot longer than because the Steam sale kind of snuck up on me and having it like discounted but half price. So I was like, well, I might as well try it now.
Yeah.
Anyway, this mod is called Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 Black, and it's rated one slot above in popularity the Ayane Nude mod for Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge.
So that must be either a very, very good mod or the Ayane Nude mod is very disappointing. One of these two things must be true, and I'm not interested in investigating.
So yeah, I also need to play. I realize I need to play the original version, like actual 361, and right next to this to really know.
Oh, flop swap?
That would be really funny.
This is like, I've never had to watch Bob just play 2 games on a flop swap.
Right? But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. I want to play more of it. It's really neat that someone's trying to do this. It even looked like there's 2 different ones. I think there's one called like Ninja Gaiden 2 Resurrection that's also got their own take on like what the black version of this would be.
Okay, I was like, their own bad lighting that they've decided is better.
There are other mods for different bad lighting that's probably better.
Fantastic.
Incredible. But yeah, I wish that they had used this release as an opportunity for like Team Ninja themselves to do this sort of thing. Like to try and rebalance Sigma 2 into something people like.
Right. You know, kind of like that Devil May Cry 4 special edition.
Right. Like just at least add the gore back in, if nothing else. Because modders were able to do that pretty quickly. If they saw that and just did a few little things, I feel like they could have got a lot more positive press than they did.
I'm like, Bob, why are you happy? They put the gore back in. You're like, they removed the sex scenes. I'm like, God. Damn it.
Let me see what else I played. I also tried. Well, I played a little bit more SMT5 Vengeance. Did you guys?
Why didn't you guys do Big Think on Thursday? You're now experiencing that. I tried. Anyways, Chris, Aggro, did either of you play SMT5?
Just
No,
a bare
I didn't
little
play
bit
anymore.
Yeah, I got to the when you go back to the high school after going to the demon world. And that's when things start getting pretty different. I'm pretty excited about how things take turns after this because they do some big changes there. there's a big part of the original SMT5 where you have to go chase Lamu into the demon world, and that's not going to be a thing in this one. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm glad they're finally doing a lot of different things, and I really like this new character. Yoko? Is that her name?
Every time we sit down to do Big Think, it just blasts out of my brain.
Because Tao is the girl from the original game. And
yes.
I think that Yoko is the new one.
And every time I try to imagine this game without her, I'm like, what the fuck did you guys play?
Yeah, she adds so much to it because she almost works like a... Because the main character can't emote about stuff much. She is there a lot to be like the character who actually interacts with the other characters you talk to, which helps a lot. And she's also unhinged, which is great. The first scene you get when you get back to the real world is like, your friend's being bullied. You should be willing to kill her bullies. You should kill them right now.
She's sick of Tao's half-ass shit.
It's really great. So I'm excited to play more of that. Today I went to pick up my copy of Daybreak Trails.
You guys excited? Bob got a Trails game.
Because I've traded in and got the credit from Luigi's Mansion towards that. They didn't get my copy though.
Bob, why didn't they?
So how do they resolve that? Are they like, come back in 3 days and we'll have it, or what?
They said they'd give me a call back when they got it, because they didn't have it at any stores nearby either.
They're never calling it.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to keep calling them.
You're gonna have to keep hassling them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks.
What the fuck's wrong with GameStop?
They had 2 pre-orders. They said they only got 1 copy. How's that even?
Okay, 2 things. 1, you're a complete fuck up if you do that. 2, you're an even bigger fuck up if you told one of the 2 people you did that. How the fuck did you couldn't get that information out of me via torture,
right?
If I worked that counter.
No, like I let it pass because I've worked that job for over a decade. I know exactly what that's like, and I would never say that happened. Obviously,
because why would you?
Right? You don't need to give the customer any reason to be upset. They clearly expected me to be way more upset, and I was not.
Yeah. Which means you've treated them to a delicious delicacy. If they do not get your thing soon, you bring me in, and I will be upset enough for the past 2 transgressions.
But yeah, luckily, I don't. Now I have more time for
Bob,
SMT5.
One moment.
Did you even get to the end of the demo? You could microdose by getting to the end of the demo.
It sounds like me. You're being bullied. And I have been told by some very trustworthy people that I should deal with my friends' bullies.
But yeah, that's true. I haven't finished the demo. The demo is Chris mentioned earlier in the podcast, insanely long.
The demo is the prologue and all of chapter 1.
Jesus.
It is a lot of game.
Yeah, because I got to the second dungeon in that demo. I was like, this game's good. I don't need to play anymore.
I keep thinking about asking on Twitter as a joke, like as someone who's only played, Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, is Daybreak a good place to just skip ahead to? Because I'm worried people will try to actually argue this point in the replies and spoil a bunch of
yeah,
shit.
Somebody will. But you should at this point it'd be fine, but I feel like you should at least go through 3 and Cold Steel 3 and 4, because nothing has referenced Reverie yet. At least in what I've played of Daybreak from that demo. Like, they've referenced stuff that happens in Cold Steel 3 and 4, but not in Reverie. Also, Cold Steel 3 and 4, incredibly good.
It's true. I have them. I have a physical copy of both of them sitting on my entertainment center, mocking me, taunting me.
Man, but you want to get through Daybreak because you're going to talk about on Game of the Year, though.
Honestly, it'd probably be fine. Like, you'd know 1 or 2 things that happen, but I don't think it would really be that big a deal. But again, I started Yakuza at Yakuza 3 and then went back and was like, oh, look at these things that summary didn't describe at all. Because the Yakuza games have the cutscene movies where they kind of give you a really truncated version of the game. I'm like, wow, none of this shit happened at all the way it feels like it happened in those cutscene movies.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you have to cut down something that's even the shorter Yakuza games are 20 plus hours. So things get lost in the mix. Man, did I played one other thing. There was one more demo I tried out for Veritas. It's Veritus. It's the next game from the people who made Curse Crackers.
Oh shit!
Color Grave. But this is like their first game, which is a Zelda-like game, that's very puzzle-based. It's like a top-down view. It has a stylization a lot like a Game Boy Color. And the story is super weird. I'm not sure if it's just for the demo, but it makes it seem like it's all happening in the main character's head, and he plays like this kind of older dude on his last job, and he once in a while in the dungeon you just go into a room and you'll all of a sudden be in like darkness and see people you talked to in the clearly his past. I'm like, okay, this is doing some weird stuff, and but it's pretty neat. You got really basic Zelda dungeon design, but with kind of interesting tools. Like you get a lasso, a grab hand where you can like grab a thing, enemy or object, and throw it. And the lasso can be used like the hook shot in the Zelda game. And you get these really quickly in this one dungeon just to kind of mess around with different stuff.
I see the aesthetic is Game Boy Color.
Yeah, exactly. Game Boy Color Zeldas.
Always good.
You have something that I thought was kind of interesting to make your main tool, like an early on tool, is a warp back to the beginning of the room you're in. And that's just one of the main things you can use to get around the area. Like, so there'll be a lot of puzzles where like, oh, you do this stuff on this side of the room, and then you'll warp back to where you started, and it'll make that side of the puzzle room make sense. I could see it expanding out and being pretty cool, but the demo doesn't give you too much of a taste of that. It kind of is just like, here's all the basic mechanics, demo's over. But it still seems neat. Main thing that I didn't like is I think the music is literally broken in the demo. I don't feel like there's any way it's supposed to be looping as frequently as it does, and sounds almost like it's running over itself. It's a lot like what Dan was describing with Luigi's Mansion 2.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. There could be a part of it where it links into that, oh, this game is kind of messed up and in your head, but it just sounds unprofessional. So I'm thinking it's just a glitch in the demo.
Okay.
So, yeah. Not as cool as their last game, Curse Cracker. I thought that game was super cool, and I feel bad that I haven't bought it yet. But it's still pretty neat. Cool. And that is everything I played.
Hey, Dr. Aggro.
Yes, sir.
You been playing it?
The thing I got to play the most was SMT5, so not really. A combination of the intrusion of real life and hubris. Hubris at the height of summer. Summer's going to last forever, and I will never have to cram for Game of the Year.
Hey, Chris. You playing video game?
Yeah, I streamed all of Wild Arms 1 this week. That was cool.
Nice.
Did you know that if you work a job, then go to the gym, and then immediately stream for 4 to 8 hours every day, 5 days in a row, it makes you insane?
Yes!
Uh-huh.
So when you don't have to do that, you're pacing around in a circle going, why don't I have a thing to do? What's going on?
Oh no.
It's so confusing.
You went crunch maxing and now you're lax breaking? Wait.
Wild Arms 1 is a really neat game. It's the third RPG released in North America on the PS1. Beyond the Beyond and Suikoden 1 are earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Beyond the Beyond, just barely beating other games out. So that way you go, yo, an RPG.
I guess that justifies it a little bit of
It
there
does.
wasn't anything yet. Ignore everything else. Don't play Suikoden 1, please.
Wild Arms 1 has a lot of neat mechanics. You have the character Jack, who uses a quick draw sword techniques, and all kinds of little events in the game will happen and give him hints to develop new ones. Like it'll be like quick draw hint acquired, and then he'll get a move called 4 question marks.
Huh.
And you have to use that in battle enough times, and eventually you'll learn it.
Ooh.
That's really neat conceptually. until that last stream where I spent 4 hours going, learn it. Learn it.
Oh my god.
Learn it. Learn it. Because to which I say, you know what's cool? Randomness is cool. But much like a gotcha system, you should have a hidden pity.
Yeah.
So I think if that anybody wants to revisit that mechanic, you should have it be random and then have an invisible thing. It's like, if they try it 10 times, they just get it. Because if you use it, it doesn't fizzle. He just does a normal attack instead. So it's not completely worthless. And especially because in the remake of Wild Arms 1, Alter Code F, they remove it. You just find these glowing swords in the game world that give him a new move, and he doesn't have nearly as many in Alter Code F. And as a kid, I was disappointed, but now I'm like, most of these are worthless. So maybe it's fine they removed most of them. That Wild Arms has the tool system where each character gets 4 items they can use in the overworld that theoretically should enable some puzzles, but they didn't figure that part out till 2.
Oh my god.
Of course.
So there's some stuff. Well, there's a little bit, but most of the puzzles revolve around like block pushing and switches.
I feel like
which aren't
many
that great.
Many things were inspired by Lufia 2's really cool puzzles and tools in dungeons. So this wouldn't be anywhere near the only one to go, what a cool idea. Oh shit, we did it bad.
Wild Arms 2 does it real good. Like, the main thing that I experienced playing Wild Arms was like, I want to stream Wild Arms 2, but I should wait to see if that retranslation comes out, so it isn't so insanely rough.
Yeah.
I went and counted. Wild Arms 2 has 51 dungeons.
Whoa.
What the fuck?
And that game isn't enormously long. You're blasting through those, and they're all really different and have different gimmicks.
Huh.
So there's like a reason where I'm like, yeah, the PS1 was the perfect amount of resources for a game.
Yeah, when you could make a game with like 10 to 18 people over the course of a year or two, instead of perform one small part of one segment of a game over the course of 6 years.
Wild Arms 1 has a thing that all the Wild Arms games do is like they really lean into being structured like a shonen anime, where it's like they'll constantly cut to the villains having meetings.
Just like God Hand.
Which is really you fight all of them a lot. I think like every single major antagonist in Wild Arms 1, there's like five or six of them. You fight like 3 or 4 times each, which makes it feel really good when they finally just fall down and don't get back up.
No more cutscenes for you.
They also cope really hard whenever they finally lose. Like, they literally start screaming, "You didn't win! You didn't win! This doesn't count! It's not fair!"
Real quick, Bob, I feel like we should filter the phrase "captain's meeting" in our chat. We watched 36 episodes of Bleach only a week ago, and I'm just not ready to see captain's meeting in chat.
I'm sorry, Dan. That sounds like it's time for a captain's meeting.
No.
But it is really funny that the game starts and there's the 4 kings of the demons that are the antagonists. There's Siegfried, who literally just looks like Nightmare from Soul Calibur.
Awesome.
Lady Harkin, who is like in the remake, they just made her look like Asuka from Ava. So just imagine that, but like a demon Valkyrie with a scythe. Then you've got like a freaky looking guy under a cloak who's the mad scientist. And initially, the 4th member of the 4 kings is this big, huge reptile dude named Berserk, except they localize it wrong and he's Belselk.
Huh.
I can see where the mistakes come in. Of like, it's like a basilisk.
Tragic, but also a rad name.
No,
Yeah.
that game just has problems like that because Jack is from a group called the Fenrir Knights, but they translate it as Fenril. They turned the second one in. Game localization was hard before Google, and you're like, is this because there's also some homunculuses in the game, but they're translated as Holmcross.
God damn it. Again, not correct. pretty fucking cool.
Pretty fucking
Right.
cool.
But you fight Bell Selk once, and then you fight, and he kind of just beat him, and he's like, that didn't hurt at all. I'm leaving now. And then later when you fight, he has this convoluted plan to use a power amplifier so he can really own you, which of course fails. Because he lures you to like a temple. And it's like, this temple has a power amplifier. It'll make me big and strong. And then it cuts to like a side character blowing it up. So it turns off. Because she was just in this room and shit started glowing. So she started shooting it.
Going around with the freaking Lost Universe character.
I know.
I mean, her name is Calamity Jane.
Oh, okay, cool.
What's she called in Lost Universe?
I don't fucking remember. If only we had some reason to watch.
So you beat him. And he's like, okay, it's fine. I'm still alive. And then he hears a voice. And that's when you know it's over. He hears a voice and he's like, oh, you're that other guy. Help me. And then that guy basically says, I'll help you die. And then he gets cut in half. And then he gets replaced by the noble demon knight Boomerang, who has a cool shadow dog. He's like a ninja that uses giant boomerangs as a sword, and he has a cool shadow dog.
What a
He's
cool
also one of the
guy.
only
That doesn't rule.
and he's also one of the only characters with an original theme.
Ooh.
So it even has like, yeah, this guy's the jobber of the villains. So you're gonna beat him real early. Everybody else you don't beat until almost the end of the game.
This
But yeah,
noise
what-
gate cannot possibly go high enough to prevent the fireworks. Continue,
No,
Chris.
sorry, it's over. But just a really great game. Some of the dungeons are bad. Not a lot of them, but there's definitely one that's like, okay, split your party up for no reason. You still get the same enemy encounters though. Fight them with one person.
Yeah, that sucks.
But it's. I think Wild Arms one. It's on PS5, PS4, PS5 back and pad, by the way. So go ahead and check it out if you want. Is a really great example of like the potential of the PS1 for RPGs. Because it's entirely 2D, but battles are 3D.
Yeah.
But the models are pretty simple, so you get in and out really fast. And battles also happen really fast. What the fuck are you doing, Dan?
Don't worry about it.
But at the same time, it has great CD quality audio. And is just a really enjoyable experience. They balanced the bonus bosses wrong, so that you have to be like 20 levels above how high you need to beat the game to even survive one of their attacks.
Oh my god.
Luckily, first of all, that game has an item duplication glitch that is really easy to do.
How do
And
you
I
do
didn't do it in... Okay, so what you do is you buy a bunch of heal berries, the cheap healing item. You don't even need to buy 99 of them, I don't think. You just need to buy enough to use. You have it's one of those games where you put in all the commands for the main characters, then the turn happens.
Okay.
All right.
So character 1, you have them use a heal berry. Character 2, you have them use a heal berry. Character 3, you have them select a heal berry, swap its place in the inventory with the item you want to duplicate, back out, and then guard. And once you do that, you will have 255 of the item you moved.
Oh my god.
And the game just hands you stat increasing items constantly.
Oh my god.
So if you really wanted to annihilate this game's balance, you could duplicate all of those to 900 to 255 like almost instantly.
Bob, I have a sudden urge to play Wild Arms.
That does sound like you're very strong, very fast.
There are also a lot of other interesting items like secret signs, which make the sword guys' moves cost 1 less MP each one you use for each move. Like you pick a move and it now costs 1 fewer MP. So you could duplicate those and make all his moves cost 1 MP. You could duplicate the crest sigils that let the spellcaster learn new spells.
Jesus.
And then, of course, you can because equipment is just in your inventory, so you can duplicate equipment. You can duplicate a valuable accessory, or you can just duplicate something expensive and sell it, get infinite money, and then use that money to upgrade the main character's guns. By the way, really fucking funny. Just a little touch, a little spice. If you kill something with a gun, it explodes. Like it plays like a Aqua Teen Hunger Force type explosion on top of its death animation.
Good.
So I use I'm going to use the Tommy gun to riddle this group of 5 like chinchillas, and then they all explode.
Typical JRPG enemies, chinchillas.
Man, Wild Arms has some freaks for enemies. Like I think I said, "What the fuck is this?" like 20 times during those streams, because it'd be like, okay, here's the enemy. It's a hunched over dude with a sandal hat and a trench coat and a hatchet. There's 3 of him. Or like, here's a smiley face emoji on a spring.
Yeah, even those 2 things don't fit together at all.
And it's like, are these the monsters that the decaying planet is producing? What the fuck is going on here? But yes, stellar game. It's really hard to not just immediately be like, okay, I don't care if it has a jank ass translation. We're doing Wild Arms 2 because the dungeons really are so much better, and the puzzles are so much more interesting, and the dungeons are just cooler conceptually.
I've never been clear on this. Is 2 like a direct sequel? Do you play the same characters, or is it?
No.
Okay.
They aren't related at all. It's like Final Fantasy.
All right.
The only thing is the main character usually has blue hair and uses guns, except that only happened in the first 2 and then the 5th one. And they have like concepts that are the same that are shared over, like there's always like a big mecha named Asgard somewhere in it.
Okay.
Good.
It's important.
It is.
And there's always like a race of like semi-godlike beings called the Guardians that are your summons.
Very Final Fantasy like. Got it.
I played some other stuff. I played a bunch of 3D platformers.
Ooh.
Okay.
First, I played Cavern of Dreams. This is a Banjo type game. It's like, imagine like if a Banjo type game had 4 levels.
Okay.
And a hub.
Okay.
There's not very much dialogue. You collect these dragon eggs, and you collect God, what are the fucking mushrooms, or the note equivalent?
Okay.
Mushrooms. I don't think you need mushrooms to get further, but mushrooms unlock fast travel back to the levels, so you don't have to navigate the hub. And you learn new moves, because every so many dragon eggs, like the character in the center of the hub will call you back and give you a new move. And they're pretty standard, like Banjo stuff. It's like, you can glide now. You can ground pound. You can spit water that puts out fires, and there's one more I fucking don't remember. It's neat. It's fine. I enjoyed playing through it. It only took me like 4 hours to whip through it.
Should I play it?
Do you like Banjo that much?
I like Banjo. I would like to see someone else do Banjo. I guess I have a list
sure.
of questions here. Does
Sure.
anything have googly eyes put on it for no reason?
No.
Is the entire soundtrack crafted out of the single public domain song? I believe the name is Teddy Bear's Picnic?
No.
So far, we're winning.
Okay.
I mean, what's even the fucking point?
I will cease to care about Agro's opinions on Banjo until he beats it live on Twitch.
I'm curious. Does the movement, is it like Banjo where there's like no momentum or anything, or is it something more complicated?
Do you stance up?
it feels like there's no Talon Trot. It feels a little bit more sober in terms of momentum. I didn't notice it being because Banjo 1 like fucking you don't platform. Like that game never asks you to platform because it's so impossible with how shitty the controls are. This feels much better.
You select a stance from your inventory to solve the puzzle that is the terrain type. You use Talon Trot because it's this thing, or the Boots pickup because it's that thing. That's because they're British.
I also played Corn Kid 64. I didn't beat this one. I didn't play nearly as much as I did Cavern of Dreams.
Yeah, I played this back in November, getting ready for Game of the Year.
It has a lot more of like the Banjo type weird humor, and the timers and NPCs that are funny.
Okay.
But it also seems to be really into like executing platforming challenges.
Okay.
Because it has all these mechanics, like you have like you charge forward in the air, and if you hit like a bubble, you can jump and do it again, and there's like wall jumping and all kinds of shit. It doesn't appear to have like Jiggy equivalents. It's more like you get an experience bar when you collect like the note equivalents, and that raises your level.
That's
that
really
unlocks
sick.
new areas.
Yeah, that's cool shit. I like that.
I probably will play more. I liked what I played. I just wanted to try all these 3D platformers that I bought on the Steam sale.
Oh yeah, that'd be why.
Mm-hmm. And that was Corn Kid 64, right?
Yes. With a Z. Kids.
Yeah, Corn Kids.
And I played Penny's Big Breakaway. I didn't get that on the Steam sale. I got it on Humble Bundle because it was like you get a billion games for $20, and one of them is Penny's Big Breakaway.
Mm-hmm.
From Bob and Agro's descriptions, I didn't really understand the format of this game.
It's a weird one.
It is linear levels that have things you collect. It's structured kind of like Sackboy's Big Adventure, or almost like Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are these infinitely respawning enemies that Agro was complaining about? And it's like, oh, those are like hazards in parts of the levels. Okay. I think it's pretty neat so far. It has really fucking good music.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very nice. I think they maybe have a little bit too much speedrunner brain, like to the extent that there's a timer on the screen by default.
Yeah, a little bit.
To time you through these levels. And the reason I say they have a little bit too much speedrunner brain is if I do everything in the level, I should get the postcard you get from getting a high score. I should just get it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to complete the level and be like, okay, you completed all three NPC challenges and found the hidden things, but you didn't do it fast enough or do enough quirky tricks on the way. So we're not giving you the postcard art for doing that in the level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, that's why I fell off the game as fast as I did.
Yeah, but luckily it seems
bad.
like they fixed all like the clipping through shit and the not working parts of it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that that's what really stopped me from playing.
Yeah, because I didn't clip through anything or have any like problems with like, oh, this feels like janky and weird. It feels pretty fine to control. I feel like that I should go faster when I'm riding the yo-yo.
Mm-hmm.
Like even standing still and charging, it feels like you don't go that fast.
Yeah.
You need to be going Sonic Spin Dash speed after that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just aren't. And lastly, I tried to get through the demo for Trails Through Daybreak before the game actually came out. I didn't think it would be like 10 hours long. This seems like it's going to be it seems like it's just continuing to go up from the Cold Steel games and Reverie, which I thought were all great. It feels like we are still continuing to go higher from there. There's a lot of they've overhauled a lot of systems. Like in the previous games, you had in Cold Steel you have cooking, but it just means that you get a recipe and then you have the items and you can cook whenever to make some recovery items. And certain characters are good at cooking a dish, which gets you a special version of it, which does something different or better. Or they might be bad at it, which will make a unique bad dish, which half the time is an attack item. Which is really funny when you get to Trails into Reverie and it's like, there's 40 characters. Figure out which one is good at cooking this specific dish.
Oh my god.
God, yeah.
In this, you have a thing called gourmet level. And the first time you eat a dish, you get gourmet points based on the dish. Like it says how many gourmet points you will get. And as you increase your gourmet level, the party gets permanent buffs.
Ooh.
So for getting to gourmet level 1, everybody gets plus 10 defense forever.
Ooh.
Cool.
This is in the demo?
Yes.
Yeah, this is in the demo.
Good lord.
I don't think they give you a tutorial for it. I had to suss it out from looking at the menus and stuff.
Hmm.
And it's funny because it's a little bit diegetic because the main character Van has a sweet tooth really bad. Like there's a cigarette shop across from his office and you go there at the very start of the game and the lady's like, go away, I fucking hate you. You just buy the newspaper and candy and never any cigarettes. Get lost. And also the heroine convinces him to take on her weird job in part by giving him like the limited time dessert from the shop near her school. I understand why they have included the weird action game system. It's not really an action game system. It's like an enhanced version of the field attacks you could do in the Cold Steel games. Because in Cold Steel 1 and 2, you could just hit them.
Mm-hmm. And that's become kind of a thing in a lot of these RPGs.
These. Yeah, like even in SMT, you can do that, right?
Right.
SMT 5. And then in Cold Steel 2 and 3, Cold Steel 3 and 4 and Reverie, you have like a 3-pip meter that lets you do a super field attack. And if you hit them with that like really knocks them on their ass and gives you a bunch of advantages.
Hmm.
And then in Reverie, they add other things to do with those pips, so you end up not using them as much for the big field attacks. This feels like they realized, okay, because in all the Cold Steel games, you fucking blast through normal encounters. You tear ass through fodder enemies. It's like, okay, Ring, kill him. You're going first, just kill him. And then he kills him. And that's like most of the normal enemy encounters in the Cold Steel games. So I guess they wanted to limit that a little bit, so you can just beat them to death on the field now with field attacks. You can just pummel them until their HP is gone. Or if they have a little bit more HP, you pummel them until you fill the meter that lets you stun them and then hit the button to enter battle with them stunned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a go faster, make it smoother type mechanic. And this is the first one I feel like in a while where I feel like you don't need the speed up. They've successfully streamlined the game enough that I feel like I don't need to make it go faster.
I'm really curious with this system, how it's going to compare to Metaphor ReFantazio, because they're also doing something very much like this where you can switch real time between the real time combat and the turn-based thing. I wonder how it's going to be compared to this.
Yeah, I also wonder how it'll be. They completely changed like the materia type system from the Cold Steel games. It was still your phone in Cold Steel, but now it's like an even smaller phone because technology. I'm really impressed by all the mechanics. It's also very funny that in like the 2 years since between this and Cold Steel 4, like the continent advanced like 30 years ahead in tech. Also, the main character has a car, so when you have to go somewhere else, instead of taking the car like a train in Cold Steel, you just take the car.
Hmm.
He just drives on the highway, and he has like a Ford F-250 because he's a dick.
Learning that, I worry that they'll get the hubris of like, we'll make the car drivable. in the third one of these games or something.
I mean, they made a motorcycle drivable in the Cold Steel games. It controls kind of bad and just lets you go slightly faster in areas. I don't think they're going to let you drive the car. There might be I could see them putting in a mini game at some point where you drive the car. But I don't know if they're going to literally like let you drive it in like the overworld equivalent.
It's okay. They'll give Adol a car.
It's very funny how he's like, I'm a Spriggan. I take all these. I'm not entirely like I don't entirely follow the law, and I'm not a criminal. But then you do like the exact same fucking side quests as you do in every other Trails game.
Look,
but now they have a fucking alignment system.
Oh.
That changes based on dialogue options you give and the side quests you do. And the alignments are gray morality, law, and chaos.
Oh my god.
But since these games don't have multiple endings, I assume that those will determine, based on the description they give in the tutorial, I assume that will determine what guest characters you get at certain points of the story.
That'd be cool.
Because in Trails you have the Bracer Guild, who are like every adventurer guild in any kind of anime or anything. And then you have like the Mafia and the Jaeger Corps, which are like these independent mercenary groups that do illegal things. And they even imply that if you play your Cars Rush, you'll get to team up with characters from Ouroboros, the evil society that is the overarching antagonist of the entire franchise.
Weird.
But yeah, the character writing in this is really strong. I didn't expect Van to bully this one guy by calling him a pedophile repeatedly. That was really fucking out of nowhere. Because he's like a junior detective. He's like a member of the police force. He's like a junior level detective, and he runs up and hassles you because you're like this well-known shady guy. And he's like, "Why are you hanging out with this teenage girl? Are you trying to tear down the wrong path? I'm not gonna." So he just keeps like, "Why are you so invested in this? Do you want to have sex with her, Nate?" Because that's his name. Nate's like, "Are you so invested in this teenage girl because you want to date with her? Pedophile." That's every one of their interactions.
I would say his strategy for trying to get that person to never talk to him again should work, but it's obviously not working. He has to keep talking to this person.
Right, that guy's still a cop, so it's not working.
Yeah, but the main character is best friends with like an important guy at the CIA, so he's like out power scales him.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it seems really great. It looks very nice. It's very cute. They have performance mode. It's like, do you want this to be 30 frames a second so it can be 4K instead of 1800p? It's like, no.
You wouldn't do that?
What?
No.
You care more about frame rate than 300 rows of pixels? Crazy.
It is really funny how most of the game looks like any other Trails game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any of the ones that are on, PS4. But sometimes you go into a cutscene. Unlike the previous games, there are now times when money turns on, and you have a cutscene that even has basic mocap in it.
Their engine used to not support having money.
It's true. But yeah, I'm really excited to play to break into this. It seems very cool. All the characters are very neat. I'm happy the timeline is continuing to move in such an interesting way. And I'm glad that this game won't have 45 playable characters in it, because managing all that really did become a lot in Trails into Reverie, where it's like, here's 3 different 12-person parties. You need to manage all of their gear and shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, do we know how many characters this is going to have?
I think it has like 6.
Okay.
It's a much smaller cast.
Yeah, it's much smaller. Yeah.
I assume like with like the guest characters who you traditionally cannot mess with the gear of, it might go up to like 9. But yes, that is very excited. That's everything I played, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
You want to do Beyond Good and Evil?
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Guess that's fine.
We're totally doing Beyond Good and Evil on Sunday. We promise.
We absolutely.
We're sorry we had to cancel last time. This time, we will be at your baseball game.
And that we'll get that celebrity show up. Everybody's gonna love it.
Oh, yeah. Is Poochie's going to be there? Everybody loves Poochie. And Chris, do you have any plans coming up? I know you just got done streaming shitload.
Yeah, not in the immediate future. When I start streaming, in the next game will be Threads of Fate on PS1 because I keep hearing
Hell
people talk
yes.
about it, but I don't know anything about it. And if you look into it, that's like every SquareSoft guy's favorite game they put out. And a bunch of the people from it went on to like, one of them went on to be like, yeah, I'm like a major person in every Kingdom Hearts game. The director.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm curious to see like what this is. This is the roots of.
So Chris, after you do like 20 of these good PS1 JRPGs, you're gonna go play Beyond the Beyond then, right?
Almost. That feels inevitable. So sure.
Let me tell you, as somebody who had a PS1 kind of early, I really felt alone in that me and my brother are the only people I know who know about Beyond the Beyond. Even Retro Island Gaming's like, oh yeah, Beyond the Beyond, that's vintage. Like he kind of used a word that was kind.
It's like, hey, Dan, I knew
fearful.
about it. I was upset.
I was like, check out this cool RPG I own. And you're like, where is it? Because it ain't on screen. And I'm like, oh, no.
That might be a game that I play on my own on an emulator so I can fast forward and not
No, that's bullshit. That's not the experience.
and not be stuck in a really fucking archaic game for 30 hours.
Look, there's no reason a cave that's only 7 screen spaces shouldn't be the first 2.5 hours of a game.
I think there's probably some pretty good reasons that isn't the case.
No, that is a good video. I can't even.
And that game sure was a lot worse than Dragon Quest 1.
So you play oh, you're playing the Game Boy Color version of Dragon Quest 1.
Yes.
I don't know. I'll trade not having to select stairs or door, you know.
I guess.
Yeah,
There's some advantages.
Yeah, there's some advantages. Yeah, I don't know. There's a reason Lunar looked super awesome on the PS1. It was because I played Beyond the Beyond first. And honestly, because once again, for anyone who doesn't know, I always grew up with JRPGs, got in at Final Fantasy 1 as a baby. They were cool at the time. I was like, oh, this is cool. Look at these. These are great. Bob's like, why do these suck? And I'm like, they don't. Like they transformed in the moment I turned back.
I can smell that coming off Beyond the Beyond from space, considering it was made by Camelot, who couldn't figure out, who even on the Game Boy Advance could not seem to work out. If I select to attack an enemy and somebody else kills it before that character takes their turn, they should retarget another enemy.
They sure should.
I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy figured that out by 2.
Yeah, they figured it out pretty fucking fast. I always thought that was weird.
That's actually a quality of life toggle on the Wizardry remake of whether or not that will happen.
It's just more skill based, you know?
The funny thing is, somebody who didn't know what Camelot was or anything like that, you know, I'm just playing Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color. The characters do the wiggle and the talk, and I'm like, wow, they wiggle like RPG characters. Because that's what RPG characters do. They wiggle.
Every time I'm reminded that Beyond the Beyond is Camelot, I'm surprised because there's like almost none of the charm.
It really, I don't know. It feels like it. I believe this was actually Riggs' comment, Andrew from Retro Island Gaming, that it was like Golden Sun beta almost, like that it is so similar to that, but not there.
But yeah, missing everything that makes it cool and charming.
I don't know. There's a swoopy animation to get into battle.
I mean, yeah, that's like the only thing.
Somebody tell me, did somebody fix the game? Did somebody fix the fucking game? Is there a fan patch to rebalance the fucking game, please? God,
that
who
was
the
another
fuck
one of those.
convinced them that Americans love high difficulty games?
I don't know. I still think it's the Europeans and they got confused.
The fucking Amiga platformers confused them.
Yeah. Speaking of patches, that's another thing I need to do eventually is Breath of Fire 2, because it got a patch to fix its horrible script, and 2 got a patch because like we like cut the encounter rate to like 1/3 and increased all the shit to make it so that works out.
Oh yeah, I saw mods for Sekiro that make the leveling curve more smooth. Because in that, it does go exponentially higher for each new skill point you earn.
Yeah.
And I guess that people didn't like that, which is completely fair. Because I remember when I maxed out every skill in that, it was a lot of me being like, okay, the most efficient thing is to load this one checkpoint, stealth kill this guy, reload this checkpoint.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I watched you do that a little bit. I'm like, this is deranged.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
So I got to stress, I figured this came across in the text, but maybe it didn't. When I say who convinced them we like hard games, that wasn't like a hard game bad. That is, they also ramped up the difficulty of grinding in all these RPGs because of that. That's what drives me insane. I don't actually have a problem with Devil May Cry 3 Shinobi's difficulty on paper, though that definitely hampered their mainstream success.
Yes.
With a lot of them, it was just rentals. Like, that's why all the working design RPGs have all their fucking balancing fucked up. Because they're like, we don't want Americans to be able to rent it and then beat it.
I feel like maybe this is me. Maybe I'm really wrong on this. I got to talk to more people that I knew who rented RPGs back in the day. Did you always beat an RPG on your first rental?
No,
I feel for me,
those were always the ones that you didn't do that on.
Right,
like,
and I actually really like the PS1 having memory cards for that exact reason, because you could keep the save.
Right.
So I don't know where the fuck they're getting this from.
Yeah, no, it was a weird overcorrection. Like, that sort of thing makes sense on not RPGs, and they applied it to that.
And
anyway.
only makes sense if you're ready to sign off on, yes, I am the devil and want children to suffer.
Yes.
I want it to be harder so they can't beat the game. All I'm depriving them of is an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Heck, as a kid, you often got lost. There's no resources to figure out where to go. So it's like, oh yeah, it takes 15 hours if you know what to do. And it's like, we didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Or like also when you're a kid, it's not like you're goal oriented.
No.
You're fucking around.
Yes.
You're enjoying yourself. Anyway. Podlords.
They're here.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck! It's the Podlords.
Yes, that's right. Oh, fuck. It's the Podlords. Podlords such as BN12, Red Blaze 27, Suzushiro. It is February 2nd. Dan says the timer will die tonight. It is April 26th. Dan says the timer will die tonight. It is June 28th.
Oh, that's a comma. I wonder what the rest of that sentence said.
Who knows?
One, one moment I've been shot dead.
101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. WTF, Spider-Man. Did the timer die?
What do you think, chat? There was no timer. Plot twist. I've been typing in random numbers for months. You motherfuckers couldn't notice?
WTF, Spider-Man. Mr. I like spam.
You ever have the conviction to say for years straight that you like spam, but you're not willing to take it to the next level?
I spent all of last Friday to Sunday doing a Final Fantasy XIV Dawn trail, and all I could say is cinema. DFW 3K. Muckbun. Shiny Mew. Almost time for Chris's vacation. Please watch Thelma. It made me cry. Cooper Tank.
Hey, next Podlord? No. Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's the guy from
Oh
Bleach.
God, he has Spider-Man's pants.
Yeah, that's why I said that in the recording. I was like, it looks like somebody tore Spider-Man's shirt, and he said, I can still do it. I got this.
Yeah, this is a completely unedited clip of Bleach.
Yeah, no, that's how the guy looks, chat. I don't... God!
You need to sign up to Patreon so you can hear the episode. It's got some important information.
Hopefully after this, someone can tell them how to do that. Indigo Sykes. 4 rats serving up smiles. I really like this picture. I want to show it every week. Gaijin. Shinji16 would like to remind you that you matter, you are valid, and you deserve to be happy.
I'm worried about scanning that. I wouldn't do that, chat.
A raccoon, that looks cute. Oh, a cute raccoon. So you like RPGs, Dan? Then have them all this year!
Yeah.
With me, with us, this is going to go like it actually did in the show, where the demon is just confused we don't die.
Now, Daniel, I'd like you to tell me what it is you see in this image.
Oh, that's fucked up, you guys. that is unkind. This might actually be gaslighting now.
You see at the top, Bob. You can barely make out some sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, I should see the
spiked hair.
Spiked hair, yeah. And I'm like, but the rest of it, maybe it could be anything.
It could be anything, but it isn't, Bob. It's one thing, and you know what it is. God, I pity new people who come into this fucking fandom. Sarlene. In anticipation of brothership, Timothy Pfister has avenged his youth and finished Partners in Time. Pit is good, actually.
I remember it being fine after everybody hated it, but I have no idea if I would play it as an adult like that.
This is the only time I've ever looked at this image enough to go, is that a giant toad princess in the background?
Or maybe a mech, I don't know.
It appears to be.
I do see all the alien shit going on and just think of the title screen music for Earthbound. Like the really fucked up song it plays. That title's cool as hell. Anyways, Bearded Joe. Krungle's Spum. Pleochrome. Truly, his plans make him a hero to us all.
Okay.
What about now? It's time to rock with the biggity bow bumble. Bum to the bow, to the bass, to the boom, to the bumble.
Why?
Wow.
God.
Why?
Enjoy it while it lasts. I'm excited for when chugging Bleach is over and Jinkari just vanished from everybody's fucking mind. He gets deleted from the collective subconscious.
It's weird how you can put his hair on Buck Bumble and it doesn't really change the vibe.
Yeah, I'm worried that us doing the Bleach month after we finish it'll make it even stronger somehow.
Yeah, that's a concern.
I don't think he's in any of those fucking games.
He's not,
so.
but it's us inserting him that's going to do it.
Oh, thank God, a Bleach game with a character creator.
At this point, I'm just mad you used Jinkari as an excuse to make me think about Buck Bumble.
Aggro will never forgive the British. Me at 3 a.m. getting ready to fire off all the fireworks I own and waking up everyone in a 5-mile radius.
Yes, I saw on Twitter that thing that happened, I think it was like 8 years ago or so, where in LA they accidentally hit the button to launch every firework at once.
Holy shit.
And it's just a gigantic explosion. I was like, that should have just been the standard afterwards. It was incredible.
Everyone must go deaf.
It's like that. It's like that episode of Malcolm in the Middle where they buy the super firework from the illegal
like the
firework
Komodo
stand.
3000. That's exactly what it looked
and they're
like.
they're like, when does it go off? And then they like transition to day for like 5 frames, and then transition back. And then they're like, when is our vision supposed to come back?
My enemies in ZzZz, when they see the shark girl and her signature gear that I got coming after them. I am my own worst enemy. Attack while he's mid fucking swing. What? It might work this time. You should do it.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes you got a memento mori. Sometimes you got a memento to fucking dodge.
Something worse than a... Wait a minute. These are out of order. Something worse than a barrel tender be upon ye.
Oh, so that thing's real, huh?
This is horrible. Oh my god.
Assume that's FF14?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
my
all kinds of
God.
fucked up new Cactuar variations.
Romulus.
Oh, good on him.
She's mid, but I like... Oh, wait a minute. What? There we go. She's mid, but I like her.
Waka waka.
And I might be a block, but there's no attack I can't block. And Rom Ram. Thank you very much to our pod lords.
Thank Pod Lords.
Thank you,
Pod
Lords. And if you'd like to become a pod lord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcasts. For as little as $5 a month, you get many benefits, such as early access to chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the movies. You better get on that because those are both going to be done pretty soon. Pokemon first, of course. You also get extended content from other shows, which will return soon and be more standard once the anime podcasts no longer exist. And you also get a patron-funded show, one a month, either a public show where we watch a horrible thing and discuss it and patrons get a private commentary track, or a private show where you vote on a good thing we watch and then talk about. You also get an entire movie called Isolation 119. This is an actual feature-length film about a man going to Thailand to get a tax write-off on his vacation to Thailand. There is also some sort of plot involving ghosts. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, it always helps us immensely to spread the word, post about us on Reddit until you get banned, and then move to another subreddit and keep posting. Who cares? It's Reddit. You don't really like using it anyway. Rate us on Thursdays. Rate us with a T on your podcasting app of choice. And leave a comment and subscribe on YouTube if you listen that way right now. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. Thank you.
We got some news. Let's go ahead and start with Dr. Aggros. Aggro?
So Nintendo
Heard of
them. Back in May, they said a thing might be happening, and on July 3rd, they announced that it has happened. They have run out of Wii U parts.
Oh no.
They ain't making that shit no more. So if you break it, you're out of luck. They are no longer doing repairs.
That's rough. Especially since that console has a giant gamepad that is necessary to use it at all.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
Does
Man,
anyone know
they
if they made
really-
a custom firmware to bypass that at all?
They sure fucking delivered a worst of all time console piece of hardware with the Wii U. It's genuinely impressive. They delivered some seed 3DO shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unusually horrible for Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like the best part about it was after the Wii came out and a bunch of people hated on it, and then it sold 8 bajillion units. And we're like, okay, maybe the Wii wasn't the stupidest decision ever. Maybe Nintendo are actually secret geniuses.
And then they thought that, and we learned no,
Yes.
they aren't.
Not this time. This one was
I'm
thought
sure
up by
glad
a real moron.
I'm sure glad the weird ass fucking Fisher Price era of Nintendo was over, because the GameCube had that going on, the Wii had that going on, and then the Wii U had that going on, and the initial version of the DS had that going on a little bit.
I don't know why, and I implore chat and in the comment section to really voice in on this. For some reason, the GameCube controller has Fisher Price energy, but I'm not sure the console does. The console feels
it's like
a little
cube shaped, like it has that handle.
It has the
like,
handle,
I don't know.
but to me,
it feels like I was viewing it in completion with the controller. Like
yeah.
you can see they went really it was almost like they were afraid to abandon the we have to pretend to be a toy so Americans won't be scared of us shit from the NES.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I
a
don't know, I
coincidence
figure
that
it was
once they
just,
abandoned that, they sold 1 billion trillion consoles.
I figured it was more of their company identity of we make devices for primarily children that anyone can enjoy, and they were trying to stick hard into that identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they didn't have their entire demographic age out on them.
Wonder why their sales on titles are so much higher than. I told Bob, we were talking about this. I was like, maybe at some point, when you look at the sales of the original release of Luigi's Mansion 2 being so insanely high, you start to reckon it has less to do with the quality of any individual title and more the fact that overall Nintendo games are very safe for children to consume, and parents go, I get you a Nintendo. And then they just buy the Nintendo. But yeah,
do it.
And Luigi's almost as well known as Mario. Okay, no, but
He's Green Mario. You're in the
Green
bag.
Mario. It's basically like you're like not. Most people don't know about the chicken soft taco Supreme.
right.
This isn't real news, but I thought I'd bring it up here while we're in this micro Nintendo segment. GamesIndustry.biz has an article, and you'll find out why this isn't news when I finish reading the title, and then I will read no more. Nintendo adopts wait and see on generative AI. And it's an entire article trying to figure out why Nintendo would wait to use generative AI in their games.
Yeah, they don't have a wait and see policy. They have a looked and decided policy.
Right. Yeah, the actual interview that came out seemed a lot more like, no, we're not doing that than wait and see. God, why is Industry.biz literally an industry plant now?
Well, I feel like it's in the title. I think this might be run by the games industry. Biz.
I guess.
It was interesting. I believe the quote from them directly, Nintendo, was something along the lines of like, our products are so high quality that we could never trust an algorithm to make something as good as we do. Something along those lines. And it's like, yeah. What a concept.
Wow. How'd you figure that out?
Look at...
Nintendo, why aren't you using generative AI to make your games? I don't understand the question.
Oh, so you don't know about generative AI? I didn't say that. Anyways,
so apparently there were some supposed leaks, some rumors going around, some people pushing some narratives that Ben Studio was working on a Days Gone sequel for the PS5.
Please be real.
This got to such a point that Kevin McAllister, the community manager at Ben Studio, tweeted, I apologize to our Days Gone community for continuously getting fed false hopes and poor information by people looking for likes. It's not fair to you all. We are currently working on a new IP, and when we have actual news to share, it will come from our studio.
and that's all really good and cool and important to know. And I'm sorry, Chris, that we're not getting a Days Gone 2 yet. But excuse me, his fucking name's Kevin McAllister. Isn't that the Home Alone kid?
Yes. Yes, it is.
This poor man.
Right?
You know he's probably around our age and probably grew up with people who are like, oh, you like the movie.
Uh-huh.
Parents are like, what the fuck did we do?
Right.
Who knows? Maybe they're way younger and they dodged it entirely.
Maybe.
And that generation just had to deal with kids who were named Nemo, which is a much smaller category of person probably than Kevin's. Anyways.
Ubisoft, Good Idea Factory, has announced a collaboration with a company called DoubleJump.Tokyo to implement all of the dumb Web3 shit they're planning to do in their games. I apparently didn't write down the name of their big upcoming Web3 RPG because who gives a shit?
Yeah.
This company, DoubleJump.Tokyo, is apparently the ones that are also working with Sega to do their blockchain bullshit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Ubisoft is still pretending that Quartz is real and is the main backbone infrastructure that's still there. Please ignore the fact that we've contracted with 2 other of these horseshit companies to shove this bull crap into our garbage.
Yeah, like at least on the Japanese end, it's like they're fleecing the government. Like we will continue getting these stories from Japanese companies until the timer on that we will give you a subsidy because we can't be left behind runs out.
We cannot allow for there to be a mine shaft gap. Anyway, I'm sorry to everyone who does and doesn't get that reference.
Both gaps equally covered.
Thank you. I need this apology.
Apparently, Star Wars Outlaws has gone gold.
Cool.
That game might actually be coming out this year, like they say.
That's,
Oh my God,
that's
when
still
is-
crazy.
When is that game?
I think it's October.
I'm so scared.
Yeah, I
to
think
play.
it's
There's so
October.
many games.
There's so many games.
So many games. Yeah, Aggro, you brought in this news, and I looked it up a little bit. There's been talking to last week from a bunch of news outlets about a Sony patent on back compat, which is in fact an update from the 2020 Sony patent on back compat, which was in fact an update of the Sony patent from 2018 on back compat. Basically, it's a patent that covers, I'm going to butcher it a bit, but basically it helps them test for forward compatibility is what I saw people saying it was doing. Basically, it allows you to test your code against different timings and systems and stuff. That's what it sounds like from the patent. That's what other people are agreeing it says. It seems like it would be really important for back compat and more so for forward compat for testing. This isn't huge news. I wish it was.
Right.
I'm sorry. The only reason we're covering it is in case you heard that news elsewhere and you got really excited.
Yeah, you want...
Yeah, like that, and the rumors of them working on PS3 back compat, which is what this really sounds like. Like if you go to like page 7 on the application, he's like, this is for when some CPUs are fucked and you need to make new things run on them.
Yeah. So like this isn't nothing, but it's also not super important something. Like it's a cool technology they're using for that exact sort of thing. We still await the PS3.
Yeah, this is not an announcement. This is more evidence of the rumor.
We now go to Bob.
Sure. Let's see, man. There is a new Crazy Taxi game. Something we already knew.
Yep.
But this week they said it will be open world, massively multiplayer in AAA.
We actually knew all that too.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
we knew all
did
that
it
too.
and announce it.
Right. They
I
just
think it came out.
Yeah. But now it's official.
Luckily, all these were like, we're also doing a remake of the original one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the plan to not get fucking set on fire. It's like, yes, we're trying to turn Jet Set Radio into Fortnite, and yes, we're also doing some stupid bullshit with Crazy Taxi, but we're also doing high quality remakes of those games in addition to those as separate projects. To which I'm like, good, those are the things that are going to actually come out. I don't think these other bullshit will.
Chad, you want to see me be an absolute freak? If they release a $70 remake of Crazy Taxi, I'll buy it. It just looks insane.
Yeah.
I'm a freak for Crazy Taxi.
Right,
I
of
love that
course.
game too much. I own so many versions of Crazy Taxi.
I have a sinking horrible feeling that one, it won't look insane. It'll look,
No, it's going to look
Middling.
pretty straightforward.
and two, it won't have any of the songs you remember because they don't think that's important.
Yeah, for some reason, they don't seem to believe that.
That's wild, but they wouldn't think that. But
You know, here's the thing, though. At first, I believe the first version that was like that was the PSP version, which, since it was portable now, that's a huge gain. And frankly, if you're going to elevate Crazy Taxi as an experience ever more, the only way to do it is to make it make UMD sounds while you're driving around the city. So it got graded on the biggest curve possible there.
it's the only replacement for the shifting sound from the arcade machine.
It's true. It's true. Or the Dreamcast with the, what is it, GD drive.
God, what a nightmare.
Yeah, I love Crazy Taxi. I'm excited for this. Hopefully it exists ever, unlike Twisted Metal.
I don't know. I can't see this this quadruple A game initiative of Sega's ending in it where they want to make all their shit into service games ending in any way other than tears.
Same.
Yeah.
But I wanted to come out first.
This sounds like a recipe for disaster, but since this is the first one they're talking about,
Uh-huh.
they might be the first one out. So it's the big
Maybe.
bomb.
And then
Yes.
they cancel Jet Set Radio is now Fortnite with guns.
Yes.
A thing that the fact that anybody thought that could happen, they're insane.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Nobody knows what this IP is, dog. You haven't made it in 20 years, and you're like, we can be are you insane?
Worth noting the level of broken person I am. I've played multiple of the Crazy Taxi gotchas. Like I played multiple mobile Crazy Taxi games. God. Anyway,
It's also worth noting that I think this is like the first time in a while Sega posted a loss.
That's interesting.
It wasn't a huge loss, I don't think. It was.
Yeah, I also had some news. It was translated by Gosokyu, which is
40 million. They posted a loss of 40 million.
GSK on Twitter. Apparently, Tosei, who's been involved as like the Phantom Studio behind a number of different games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I brought them into my Tenchu pitch for Armchair Devs. They changed their fiscal year ending forecast, or their forecast for the fiscal year, which ends next month, from a 20 million yen profit to a 450 million yen loss.
Ooh, they worked on a lot of Square Enix stuff, so I guess they were working on that shit they canceled.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
They also worked on Scarlet Nexus, so maybe Scarlet Nexus 2 got fucking canceled.
They worked on a lot of Nintendo stuff too. They get work. So this
I
is
feel
a little
like with
concerning.
this area where everybody overextended, they probably took on a lot of projects that ended up canceled.
God. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Great industry. Wonderful industry. Fantastic industry.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about it every week.
Nothing's going wrong. Oh yeah, that Days Gone news thing. I think that community manager you followed up was people who used to work at the studio are maybe implying that they're working the new Days Gone is coming. Like that's who is putting the blame on for the rumors.
He's implying John Garvin, right?
Either that or the other dude.
Really?
The other guy said no, it's not happening. Like he said, no, Sony hates Days Gone. Look at this art they put up with all their characters. Look who's not on it. Deacon Days Gone.
Now, obviously we're not accusing John Garvin of anything.
No.
But I would say John Garvin maybe is the type of character to do that exact thing for his ego.
Possible. Maybe he wants likes. I don't know.
Maybe he wants revenge.
This will piss some people off. You know what the only other major Sony character not on that art that he posted was? Sly. Jack and Ratchet are both on it.
What about Vibri?
Not major enough.
Daniel Fortescue?
How many times do I have to say him?
Yeah, of course.
How many times do I have to tell him to not bring up Daniel Fortescue?
I think that the Days Gone guy was even like Herman Holst hates Days Gone and always did.
Oh hey, did you put the Sony Tokyo Game Show thing
I did.
in here?
Do you want to go straight to that?
Let's do it.
Sony hasn't been at Tokyo Game Show since 2019, but they're back this year.
Oh, that's cool.
What happened in 2019?
What happened in 2019 exactly that would have prevented them from going? Bob, can you tell us?
That's when Jim Ryan took over as CEO. And literally that year. So he wouldn't have had time to cancel the showing that year. It wouldn't be until next year.
Oh, sure he would. Sure he would have had. Oh, maybe he wouldn't have, because I don't think he became officially till April, so that was probably locked in already.
Right.
Man, it's going to be insane if they're like, yeah, we actually went, like, now that we have a third party guy who doesn't pretend Japan doesn't exist, look at all the shit we have going on.
Yep. Jim Ryan sure did immeasurable damage to PlayStation, and he gets to get out before any major potential revision to corporate law and how they're governed happens, assuming that may happen.
But yeah, it's so fun. It's like a light switch. It's so immediate.
It is. With all of this shit, and we still get people who are crediting him for shit the people before him did.
Oh, also, this is the first year in a while that Xbox isn't attending at all.
Which is even weirder, frankly. They just
shut down their only Japanese studio, so I guess they're just like, who cares?
Yeah, and I feel like now that they're no longer a rounding error, I imagine executives like, what are you doing fucking around with these Japanese studios with marketing and shit? Fuck off. You don't need those deals anymore.
There's also the possibility that the Final Fantasy 14 thing went so fucking poorly that it was just like, man, that was a cornerstone of our initiative in the last year.
I bet that probably didn't match up well with that right before that, doing the big marketing push for the other MMO we never got, the Sega one, Phantasy Star.
Yeah, PSO2, yeah.
Yeah, I bet nobody played that there either.
Man, they're so... Yeah, like I can't imagine any of the Yakuza slash Like a Dragon games saw big numbers on Xbox. There's no fucking... I would be stunned if it comes out that Persona 3 Reload sold anything on Xbox. I would be stunned. And it's like, man, you're real... Like, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
they're now just going to start cutting off limbs because it's like, this limb is useless now. Get rid of it.
So
Other body parts need blood.
glad Sony's healing. Flabbergasted that Microsoft is basically in a death spiral now, where they can't even begin to make steps to make things better.
Yeah, no, that's not the projection. The projection is more Game Pass until death.
God.
Yep.
Fuck Jim Ryan.
Yeah, that can't be overstated enough.
No, it can't. I'm tired of this Jim Ryan apology. I see it from corners of the internet where they're trying to credit him for the good IPs that got started during 8th gen. I'm like, you mean that shit that was in development for 4 fucking years before you was CEO?
Yeah, what?
Hey, Bob, do you have any other good thing Jim Ryan is gone energy? Or, did Chris get that and we should go to it now? Who got that news this week?
Is it about a live action thing?
It is about a series being made by someone somewhere until now.
The whole live action Horizon Zero Dawn being made by Netflix is no longer going forward.
His spell is ending before our
Thank
very eyes.
Fucking God, because that would have just been like, I think it leaked that it all would have been past shit.
Yeah,
so
it was
what's the fucking point?
It was going to be a
Oh,
prequel.
God.
Yeah, it was going to be a
Jesus
nightmare.
Christ.
But it is funny that this same week we got news that like somebody is doing an Elden Ring show. So it's like Elden Ring decapitates Horizon yet again.
Fuck Jim Ryan.
Yeah,
They should have delayed the Elden Ring DLC to have it come out on the same day as Lego Horizon.
this wasn't even really our competition, but we wanted to airbomb it. We also got some smaller stuff like that Ease Memoriam, Memoir. The Osif in Felgana is coming west now. It's going to be out in early 2025. It's them bringing it to PS4, PS5, and Switch.
I'm really excited they announced this for the West.
This is good. Partially because Xseed is publishing this, so maybe it means that bridge is mending a little bit, so they can get the earlier Trails games that are PC only right now on consoles because they have the publishing rights to those games and own the translations to those games. So Falcom kind of has to make up with them to be able to do that.
Right. But this version adds turbo mode, new character illustrations. You can switch to the old ones if you want. It's got voice acting for Adol.
Hell yeah.
And 3 different soundtracks. You get the original soundtrack made for this version. A PC 8801 soundtrack and an X68000 soundtrack.
This whips ass.
Yeah.
I want this. I'm glad they announced it for the States. When they did it originally, I was so sad.
Right? This will be really cool.
I think a lot of these features are in the PC version now because it got a big update a while back where like we added the voice acting from the PSP version and added all these different soundtracks. And I don't think that had turbo mode. Probably not. Maybe it did though. I don't know.
think that's a newer feature.
Guys, I'm going to blow your mind here.
Okay.
There's no more seasonal content going to be made for Exo Primal.
No, really, that game nobody bought. Oh my God,
That game that was on Game Pass, that game that no one, but that had the peak players on Steam of 44 in the last month. Maybe it was last week. Neither of which are good.
Neither is good.
Jesus.
Yeah, surprisingly, Exo Primal did not do so hot. And I guess has it only been 1 year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 1 year later.
Yeah.
Season 4 ends July 11th. When that ends, it will cycle back to season 1, and then it'll keep switching seasons once a month until inevitably they shut it down. But they say it's not being shut down right now.
Okay.
And they don't make any implication they will ever shut it down, but I have to assume that will happen. Yeah, I cannot say I'm surprised at all.
I wonder if we'll ever get like some kind of report on what was up with these projects internally.
Right?
Yeah, especially
Capcom's
this
very
one.
kind of
Like
doesn't
like they're so weird and unlike any of Capcom's other outputs in the past decade
Mm-hmm.
that I just wonder like was this some weird initiative that got off the ground and didn't work out at all? Like was it something that was planned to be much bigger and they slashed it down? Like what the fuck happened?
Yeah, it's unclear.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll ever find out because Capcom's not leak heavy or like talk to the press heavy outside of Resident Evil because of seemingly one guy.
Let's see. I've got some different things that Hironobu Sakaguchi said.
Okay.
He's not interested in working on Final Fantasy again. Fair.
Okay.
I get it. He's also not interested in bringing Blue Dragon or Lost Odyssey or most of his old stuff to modern consoles.
Fucked up.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I mean, he
Outsource it.
Microsoft owns those.
Both of them?
Microsoft published both of those everywhere. Those are Microsoft funded games. Like it makes sense to me that he's not like, I don't want to fucking deal with Microsoft. And from Microsoft's perspective, like they could get those games onto PC, but where else, like,
well, you know,
although now that they're dying,
right?
maybe they might reconsider.
They're bringing games to PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure that if you talk to anybody who currently worked in the Xbox division, remember Lost Odyssey, and they go, huh?
But he
Blue
doesn't.
Dragon, huh?
He doesn't even mention the last story, which they don't own. And it would be really cool to see leave the Wii.
That'd be interesting. Well, maybe he is interested in that.
But he says he is interested in...
Nintendo published that, though.
Uh-huh.
So it couldn't leave the Wii unless it was just to the Switch too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did say he's interested in getting Terra Battle re-released, which is his mobile phone game.
Totally owns that.
Yeah. Honestly, I like that game a good bit. Even I'm like, dude, make an art book. Make an art book and release a soundtrack. That's all that's really in that game.
That's such a specific thing to tell someone in reaction to a fully made video game.
Jesus Christ.
Right? What do you think of my movie? Just sell me the behind the scenes. Oh, okay.
In layoff news this week.
One moment. Okay, we're ready.
Surgent Studios, the developers of Tales of Kenzera Zhao, that Metroidvania with the African aesthetics, hit was about a dozen layoffs. So that sucks. I guess that game really did not do well.
Not well enough.
Yeah. Sadly, though, like I feel like I didn't see anybody talking about it other than to have fighting over it from some dumb guy saying it's woke, it's a DEI game, and then people arguing with him instead of just blocking them, which is what you should do.
Right.
So I feel like big games can withstand that sort of press cycle about them, but I feel like that kind of thing kills indie games. Like the average person sees that fight happening and doesn't even want to look any deeper. It's like, oh, I'll just walk somewhere else.
I feel like no one ever knew about this game.
Yeah, there's that. I saw it talked about a little bit on Twitter, even outside of the weird fighting like Chris was talking about. But even that went away immediately, and most things were just like it's kind of plain.
I mean, somebody even in our chat just went, "That came out." I feel like most people didn't know it came out.
Yeah,
even if they did know of it, which is a very small percentage of people to begin with.
Yeah, it only had its big marketing push at the Game
Awards,
which
and then it felt like nowhere else.
Right, and 5 months pass and it comes out and they don't tell anybody.
Right. Should have just paid some streamers. It's okay, we got a really big streamer to do ours. He's a doctor. Aggro or...
Oh, no. So while we podcasted,
Was someone out there planning things?
someone is out there making plans.
Yeah, what's up with that, Bob?
Bleach.
Whoa!
Rebirth of Souls was announced.
Whoa, what's the deal with that? Do I even get to know yet?
You do get to know.
Yay!
I watched the trailer while VOD Lords were going.
Great, good job.
It looks pretty nice visually. It seems like it's probably going to be an arena fighter, but I didn't get to read anything about it to confirm. I just assumed that because it always showed one-on-one fights in like a 3D environment. And it seems like it's going to tell the story of maybe all of Bleach because it shows stuff from very early on, and then I feel like I didn't see anything past like the arc we're currently on in Chugging Bleach, which weirdly enough. I did not see Genkaria, which is worrying.
You don't know, though.
We don't know.
We don't know.
It looks, the graphics are very nice.
Did they announce when?
I didn't see that. Let me pull up that webpage, see if that was on there.
I'm so excited that we're rushing through Chugging Bleach that I might be ready in time for this fresh. Like, at this point, we're doing a spoiler cast. No matter how little that makes fucking sense.
Come on, it's just a bad arena fighter.
This is the cap off to a fucking 5-year journey. That's what this is.
It's just a fucking bad arena. Although it actually might be like a weird pseudo action game thing because it's being made by the studio that made that makes the Senran Kagura games.
Yeah, it's Tamsoft.
Yeah,
That's actually exciting.
Our Battle Arena Toshinden buds.
But the genre also was like, it's a fighting game.
Oh.
So it is definitely, at least primarily, one of those bad arena fighters.
That's good. We got this.
It is Bandai Namco, of course.
Of course. Which is how you know it's an arena fighter.
I wasn't able to listen to his audio, so I don't know if it has a dub yet. Hopefully it does.
Could you imagine?
That trailer's dubbed.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I just imagine like the Bandai Namco building, and right under their sign is that's how you know it's an arena fighter.
Right. That's why they have to hide them for the Smash Bros. Credits. They're like, no. They'll get confused. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. Release date was not announced.
Okay, good. Then we're probably safe.
Right. It probably won't be till after we're done with Chugging Bleach. Or it might
assuming they let us.
Right. It might be
mostly done with until we have nothing but one episode of Chugging Bleach left.
Right. Which I think today at the same event they announced this. They were supposed to announce stuff about the next season of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they might come up with the launch of that with it or something. Who knows?
Cool. I'm excited to finally play Bleach video games. You all have no idea how weird it is. I have never played a Bleach video game.
That is really funny.
I've played so many Naruto video games, and I've played multiple One Piece video games, at least a couple.
They never, they did not bring so many of them because they're like, they don't want any Bleach games on the PSP. They made 6 Bleach games on the PSP and didn't bring us even one. Which I don't understand why. We got the DS ones. We got 2 of the DS ones at least.
Mm-hmm.
We got the PS3 one, but the PSP just nah. And they were even some of the first ones, which I understand at first it was like, oh, this is not even in the States yet. That's
Yeah, that's a problem.
Right. But once you get to like
the filler,
3 or 4 or something, just do it.
Yeah. Don't worry, the plot's going nowhere.
Right?
The air gap between you and America on the airing list barely means anything. It just means they haven't seen these 3 Arn cars.
Let's see. And the other thing I got here is that the Cybertron Transformers games, as well as Transformers Devastation, have been listed on the Xbox Store in Steam again, but you cannot purchase them. But there are now new store pages for them.
So they relisted it, but they put it under new store pages.
Yeah, well,
that's weird.
Yeah, it's not right. You can't actually buy anything there, but there is a new page for it on there. I believe. Yeah, I don't know why it's like this, but that's at least giving some hope of like, hey, these might be purchasable again because those were pretty cool games. I think most people like the Cybertron games.
Yeah.
And Devastation gets hyped up a lot.
Either most people like those, or you're all very good at gaslighting me.
But yeah, when this news article came out, just saw a lot of people like angry that High Moon Studio has been stuck in the Call of Duty mines for so many years. You know, the guys who made these. Unlike Platinum, who was just stuck in their own mind prison.
Yep.
Gotta make that AAA service game.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna make so much money. They better have an Astral Chain 2 or something else lined up for the Switch 2, or I'm gonna freak out.
They're gonna show up at the announcement of Switch 2 to say that they're closing the front studio.
And then raucous applause. Furukawa is very impressed. Chris, let's get to your news next.
Okay, Valhalla developer Sukaban Games announced his active time action game 45 Parabellum Bloodhound for PC. It's Parasite Eve.
Dope.
Like,
yeah,
it's explicitly just Parasite Eve.
that's so good.
I saw one GIF of this on Twitter and thought, oh god, between this and Slitterhead, Dan is going to ascend.
I'm so fucking winning. 1 second. I haven't seen this yet. Don't
Yeah,
watch
when-
the video.
Yeah, all I needed to see was the dome, and I knew.
Which
Oop. Go ahead.
thank God that they're actually indies are stepping in and be like, no, PS1 games are really cool.
They were, damn it.
Like, that's directly responsible for the large proportion of indie games I saw over the summer. All of those trailers, like, oh my god, I want to play a bunch of these. They look like PS1 games, and my chemical balance has been mended.
I think you can find it if you just go to the Steam page.
Yeah, okay. That's going better than YouTube right now, apparently.
I'm pretty sure the creator is like, I'm working on it slowly. It'll be done when it's done. So don't expect this anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I may have seen stuff on Twitter showing this visual before it had a name.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a long time. I think this was in development before even the I forget what the name of the sequel to Valhalla is because it's been so fucking long since anybody talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks sick as shit. It used to just be called Project D. Yeah. So I did see this on Twitter and I was like, oh, hell yeah. I didn't realize who was posting that. I just saw the video and I was like, yes. Parasite Eve is so fucking good. Anyway, let's move on. Some more Chris news.
Activision games will be slowly drip fed onto Game Pass rather than all coming at once. It is almost like there is this fact that there isn't going to be very many more third-party Game Pass games, so they need to save their fucking acorns.
So how was this revealed or announced, or was this leaked? Like how
it was leaked. Like it was going to start with Crash and Spyro, and then slowly other stuff would happen.
Okay. I'm glad Game Pass is getting more value. That's good.
I'm glad Game Pass is destroying more value.
Stop fucking around and put every old Call of Duty on it so Dan can play them all the campaigns in his stream.
Please.
In a linear stream.
I'm so hungry. The only thing that will save me is every Call of Duty campaign in a single month. God, that's not easy.
No,
That sounds deranged.
It does. I might just show up one day and look like Steve MRE Info.
And now some Falcom news. East 10 Nordics is out October 25th.
Yes.
So we have a date now.
Do you want to know what else comes out that day? Sonic X Shadow, Sonic Generations, Call of Duty, Romancing Saga 2 is the day before.
That's a kind of big deal.
What was it? 2 weeks after Metaphor Refantasio?
And then like 2 weeks after that is Brothership, and like a week after that is Dragon Quest.
Yum, so many RPGs.
It'll be it'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. And also, Trails Through Daybreak 2 will be out early 2025 in the West. It sounds like since Falcom puts out one game a year, this year is the game after Daybreak 2. That doesn't have an English title yet. And next year they're making, I think, Kyoto Xanadu, a sequel to Tokyo Xanadu. So I don't even think NISA might not even be allowed to do that. I think a different company actually has first crack at that because NISA didn't do Tokyo Xanadu. I think Axis did.
I think that's right, but I'm not positive on that.
So I imagine that Axis would have first rights to take a swing at this. So NISA might be like, we're fucking catching up on this franchise.
Yeah, it's cool that this is happening so quickly, but at the same time, it feels like you better beat Daybreak 1 fast.
I have to for Game of the Year.
Right.
And then when I'm done with Game of the Year, I'm rewarded, like editing it, I'm rewarded by playing another, apparently.
I have a sneaking suspicion early 2025 will be like April.
Yeah, that's also what I would
Not
bet.
even Q1. That's not early. That's a third into the year.
Ever since Sony described fucking Rift Apart as early 2021 and it was like June, it means nothing anymore.
It means the first half.
At least that was COVIDed.
They knew it was COVIDed before they said that. We didn't know that game existed until well into COVID.
I mean, COVID
it was
started
3 months into COVID.
Right. Everyone, I'm not sure how you remember this, but everyone was like, any minute now it will stop.
Yeah, there was
Nobody thought that.
They
Not by the time
absolutely did, Chris.
morons did. Idiots did.
Who do you think runs these companies?
I'm saying that's not being a moron isn't an excuse.
But yeah, companies were learning what that meant for at least a year.
I would even argue that the majority people thought COVID would end within 6 months. I would argue the majority of people thought it would last maybe 6 months. But yeah, anyway, that is a deranged pace to release these two Daybreak games.
But thank God there finally isn't this gigantic gap between the US and the Japanese releases.
And that's it for each of our new segments, but there is the Capcom Next segment. Bob, would you like to tell us about the Capcom Next segment?
Sure. The Capcom Next was an event that happened earlier this week.
In the summer of gaming.
In the summer of gaming, sure. It missed it by a whole month, but we'll give them that. It's around 30 minutes. It has a weird narrator the whole time who gets to interview these different creators of each game. He has a bizarre tone where he's like, I'm going to drill some answers out of this guy. I'm going to get to the bottom of why they're remaking Dead Rising. Like, what the heck is up with this? And then they have one voice for the narrator and all the people he's interviewing. So he just sounds crazy.
Oh, so he's just talking to himself.
Yeah, he's just talking to himself.
Hire a second guy.
Yeah, hire just one more voice actor.
One more guy. Okay, what was announced here?
Okay. The Kunitsugami demo was announced here. They also announced they'd be doing a collaboration with Okami.
Oh, cool. They got a hookup with the company that owns Okami.
I know, crazy,
That's
right?
awesome. Good job, guys.
But it's weird. The collaboration is you do stuff in the demo to unlock Okami skins and things for the full game. And it's a community effort. Like, the people are supposed to find little mallets in the world, like lucky mallets.
Okay.
Send a picture to them on social media. Something it's not even easy to do anymore.
No, yeah, that's really fucking hard to do with these consoles now. You got to send it to your phone and then post it from your phone.
Yeah.
One step too many.
Right. And other weird little things like, this many players worldwide need to beat the demo to get more costumes unlocked. It's a lot of weird little metagame things that are like, why do you complicate it like this? I don't think this is actually getting many people more engaged. But then most of the show was about Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster.
Okay.
which comes out digitally September 19th and physically in November.
Why?
I don't know. They're Capcom.
Why are you rushing this?
How does it make any sense to do this?
I guess they definitely needed to get a physical copy out for Black Friday / holiday shopping, but why? That's so weird. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like it might have been they can get the digital out, so they're going ahead, or it's a plan for the double dip.
Maybe it's a plan for the double dip. Have we entered that era of consumer engagement where they're
Maybe.
just all planning for you to double dip?
I mean, Capcom's being really weird because, like I said earlier, Kintsugami, no physical release. They're not even trying to double dip. They don't even want to sell it.
Nintendo did it with Metroid Prime Remaster. Wasn't that like a really short period between announcement and it coming out? Like a stealth drop? Wasn't it something like that? Whereas this is 2 months from now.
Right.
2 months and 2 weeks.
I don't remember.
Some people are saying it's the same date as the game. Okay. All right. I get it, because 9/19's the...
Oh.
Okay.
Like the...
And they probably just looked at it and went, it is literally physically impossible to get the physical shipped in time to release on this. Okay.
That's something, at least.
That's something.
As far as improvements, it's going to have better graphics. You can move and aim.
What a fucking sense. You can move and aim in this game?
Right. So basically, the things that we assumed last week of like, yeah, they'll make minor improvements.
Yeah.
You get autosave and improved NPC behavior, so they're better at following you and stuff.
Cool.
So that's good. It's going to be $50.
That's at least it's not 60 or 70. That's something. That's anything.
Yeah.
Because I really thought they were just going to be like, it's just like Resident Evil. $60.
They also made to mention. Oh yeah, definitely. They're trying to use a bunch of the old animations because of their charm.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not changing those, which is probably for the best. But I still am like, why did you make this? Also, watching this was like, oh, the director of this did the Mega Man Legends games. God, he's doing this now. Come on.
Wonder if there's something else they could be making for a mildly lower budget and people would buy. I just don't know.
It's impossible to know. You could do a complete remake of Legends 1 and turn up with something way.
I feel like somebody has to be working on it. They put every other fucking every other one available. I swear to fucking God, I will fly off the handle if they we hacked the DS games, the DS Star Force games into a collection before Legends. I'll be fucking livid.
Yeah.
You're so fucking lost.
For the record, you should just re-release those like you have for everything else.
Yeah.
We don't need any more than that. We just need a cool re-release. And then you should be making a new one. And then something else came out afterwards is the original voice of Frank West. People asked him on Instagram or something. Terrence J.
Rotello.
But yeah, apparently he just was never asked to return.
Why? He was in Resident Evil 2 Remake. He's fucking William Burkett in that.
I don't know.
There obviously wasn't some weird falling out. Why is Capcom so fucking shitty and inconsistent about this?
I don't know. It feels like
Is it even the fucking Dead Rising 4 guy, or is it somebody entirely new from that?
I don't know. I didn't check into that. It's so weird. Like the only game that's kept their cast is Devil May Cry. That's so strange.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Right?
Sucks.
It does.
Yo, US dubs, treat your staff better.
Right?
Their talent.
Like a lot of
Thank you.
A bunch of charm comes from Frank West in his performance.
Yeah, and now you've completely fucked up his hairline and somebody was looking into it and they're like, well, his new model looks really fucking weird compared to his old one. But if you look at the key art, his hairline was fucked up in that too. Like they have promo art and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
that makes sense. Well. It looked like I think they even had like the original art director and stuff come back for this. And be like, oh, I was able to touch up the graphics so much in this version.
He's like, you got Balder. You got Balder. You got Balder. And he keeps adjusting the model.
Get Rig out of the room.
Who knew that rig design Frank West?
And then the director of RE7 was interviewed because they talked a little bit about the mobile version, which I didn't even write anything about that.
Right? Why
who
would
cares?
you? It's on a phone. No one's gonna buy it. More at 11.
Right.
Oh, wait, less at 11. That's our new policy.
But he said that he is working on a Resident Evil 9. This is Koshi Nakanishi.
Nakanishi.
He did not work on 8 at all.
That's weird.
Yeah, so he's just apparently been working on this one since or something.
That's weird. It's weird that he didn't work on that 8.
Yeah,
because 8 is clearly made in the weird, like it's a weirdly different package shoved in the same casing as 7.
And it's where
I sure hope 9 isn't first person. I hope that they're like, okay, we're done with that because Ethan's gone.
right, and it sounds like this is the guy they got to come in and reassess it and turn it to the first person thing, and then went off to do something else, and now is coming on like there's some big idea behind this one too.
Cool.
And I hope it's good.
I'm optimistic for 9, but honestly, I'm just happy that they seem to be also working on a remake of Zero of Code Veronica, because if there's 2 games in this franchise that really need it, everyone and their mom says it's those 2.
Right. And yeah, I want a third person game, and I want something like RE4 where it's more actiony, and I don't know if I can even expect that.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly expect that. It could be that.
It could be.
I wouldn't expect it. I just want something that's strong and powerful. Like my problems with 8 aren't that it's first person. My problems with 8 is that unlike 7, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, those mechanics don't work in that setting. Like,
yeah, like if I feel like that all 8 needed, like if you could do something after shooting a guy in 8, like you could even in the Chris DLC in 7, I feel like that'd help a lot. But 8's just like, shoot him. Okay, you shot him. Shoot him again. Keep shooting him.
Keep shooting him.
And it's like they understood with 4 and 5, and I think even 6 that like, no, the gameplay loop should be about doing things other than just shooting them.
That's it for the Capcom.
Yeah, that's it. There was basically nothing in that 30 minutes.
Weirdly enough, I didn't get to shove this anecdote into. Oh wait, what do you do? Why was he here for the whole Capcom Next? Calm down, man. It wasn't that bad. Get out of here. It's not like the game industry being on fire. Anyway, I didn't get to shove this anecdote into any part of this podcast, which is a little weird. Digital Foundry made a video apparently that has like a title that's explicitly about why PS5 games run better than Xbox Series X games. Because as you all know, or might know, the Series X is supposed to be like somewhere between 10-20% more powerful. Math. Anyways. And they're looking into it, and it's the thing they've been saying for the past few years. The PS5 just has much better APIs, much better SDK. It can take much better advantage of the hardware. And, this makes sense. The development system for the Xbox literally not only has to make games for the Series X and the Series S, but also Windows. So it is clearly not an optimal, specifically for this one purpose, development environment. So that kind of makes sense. Hey, you know who told you these consoles were going to perform roughly the same 5 months before they came out?
Jez Corden?
Fuck no. Shit, man, I think Jez Corden was the guy who made the article who did the most insane imaginary math possible. He was like, according to Sony, the power can fluctuate on the PS5, which means it's probably running 20% slower.
Right. It's probably actually, if you do the math, half as good.
Yeah, no, this dude was literally that. So you have less than 50% odds, let me tell you. That Windows Central article was insane, and I'm pretty sure that was Jez Corden. Anyways, glad everyone takes him seriously. Anyways, really excited for how, and I actually mean this, I'm really excited for how that insanely expensive Xbox 2 years from now competes to the PS5 Pro coming out this year.
Well, it better. It's supposed to be the biggest leap in performance between console generations ever. a thing that is definitely possible.
Yeah.
And for this thing to not cost $2,000.
And the Series X is the most consistently powerful console ever made. Man, they really misunderstood that Sony talk and made most of their marketing points for launch year around a misunderstanding of that entire thing.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not even a misunderstanding as much as it is a targeted attack on something they know is a lie.
You think that Microsoft knew the PS5 wouldn't throttle?
Yeah.
You think that?
I think that.
Well, that's weird
I think that they probably had
other people who covered it also believed it would throttle, and I don't know.
It's almost like they might have put that out there. The thought, put that in people's heads.
There were a lot of weird rumors about the PS5 not working, and it would be really funny. For the record, I don't think this is the case at all. That's a little too conspiratorial even for me. I do not think that Microsoft was the origin of them, but there was all these weird rumors like they can barely get Resident Evil 8 to run on the PS5. It's running at like 720p and 20 frames a second.
Yeah, you remember the exact
metal
guy who leaks
Yeah,
all
they
that
totally
shit?
fucked up They totally fucked up the cooling. It can't work at all. Like it's totally ruined.
It's over. It's so over. And then it comes out and it's like, oh, it's fine. Weird. Did you see that person sold a PS5 dev kit on eBay as a PS5 pizza warmer edition?
No.
Because for people who don't get the joke, the PS5 dev kit is literally a V, like a 5. There's an inset in a triangular shape at the front that the exhaust is behind. So it's literally pushing all the hot air over this pizza slice shape indention in it. So they got away with selling their PS5 SDK, which they're not supposed to be able to do.
My God.
Cool. Sony didn't notice. Anyways, now that everyone's talking about it online, good luck.
Right? I was like, I'm sure you got away with it initially. I don't know if it's
hopefully
work out
the
now.
person who tweeted this out gave them a grace period of a couple of weeks.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. I just want to bring that up because, you know, it's been a long,
But
hard
PS5
day.
Pro this year? What? They haven't announced it. It can't be out.
Well, it's July. When have they ever announced a Pro in July? The only people to ever do that, even vaguely, was Microsoft announcing the Xbox One X 1 year in advance in June. Anyway, I just want to, it's been
I mean, it's kind of similar to announcing the Xbox 2 years in advance.
That's true. They're just scaling it up. Is the next one even going to launch before they announce the one after it?
I don't know.
You know what the most exciting feature the PS5 Pro could possibly have for me is?
What is it?
Being able to sit flat.
Oh,
Being
yeah.
able to sit, not needing to have some bullshit attached to it so it can sit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm stupid, okay? I might be in this case, because reading Sony on an aesthetic side is actually a little difficult for me. But I would believe that given the size of the current PS5 and the power they're pushing through this thing, they might want to look into other solutions thermodynamically, size-wise, flow-wise, etc. And maybe we will get some sort of very different look for the Pro than we do for the 5.
It would be really nice to have them be very distinct.
It'd be dope as hell.
It's been a long time since we had that situation. It'd be since the PS3 when they actually had a bunch of different models, how they changed its look massively.
Yeah.
Because even the PS4, like the
It was
Pro
like,
was...
add another wafer.
Yeah.
No, give it wings too so it won't fit into any entertainment system. Oh my God. Don't think about the
You gotta open the
If they
Lamborghini
did-
doors to change the disc.
If they made it so you couldn't fit an entertainment system, I'd be like, oh, that shit's gonna overheat. They did that on purpose so that you can't put it in any kind of enclosed
There you go.
shit. It's over.
That's how you know.
The thermal exclusion zone spikes.
I also want a disk drive that isn't installed to make you think that it's upside down at all times.
Oh, are you still?
I never make the mistake.
Okay.
I don't.
But people do.
But people make the mistake,
Yes.
and it does feel wrong and improper.
Yeah, that's true.
The Switch is also that way. I don't like that at all.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because the cartridge faces the
they
label
want you to-
forward, which was the
Yeah, they want
opposite of
you to
every
be able
portable ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want you to be able to see what game you have in without pulling it out all the way. And I'm like, no, it
Yeah.
needs to be like everything forever.
Which at least with that, there's a function to it.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
there's a reasoning there.
Whereas this is like, no, it's harder to reach the disc under the part, so I don't get to see the disc drive as well. If the disc drive were on the top side, I'd be able to see it and put it in. It's just a bunch of like, you did it wrong.
Yeah, I hope for a really different shape. For anyone who is thinking, like, where the hell's the PS5 Pro? Which apparently IGN's own game journalists are having that thought. I use the word game journalist generously for people at IGN who are talking into a mouth and, have the blowjobs are real jobs shirt as they interview Phil Spencer. They are also curious when the PS5 Pro is happening. Generally speaking, these things launch in the fourth quarter or barely not of the year, and they don't announce them that far in advance. So I would expect it to be announced in the next couple of months, maybe a little later, October, September.
Yeah, earliest August.
Yeah, so it'd be really weird if they announced it now and then didn't launch for 4 months.
Right, because then that's just saying, hey, don't buy the current one.
Which they want you to do, because there's literally no reason to lower the price on that before they have to in order to maybe make any level of sense.
Right, and then they'll announce
they
the
have to
Pro, and the
ward off the
original
Switch
will
2
become a
knifing them to
collector's
death.
item, and the price will go up.
Wait, did you just say the PS5 Collector's Edition?
Well, it will become a collector's item now that the Pro is out. So of course you're going to have to raise the price, because that means demand.
Are you two Jim Ryans in a coat?
Are you Phil Spencer? Because the only thing they've done to any model of the Xbox is raise its fucking
Oh
price.
my god, that once again, if Microsoft or Sony could just get their shit together, the fact that Microsoft announced a SKU with 1 more terabyte of storage, they're like, it's 600. I'm like, no. No.
You failed the math class.
You could not figure out what numbers meant. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Big Think. Bob and I are doing Beyond Good and Evil on Sunday, I suppose. And Chris is not.
Yeah, you got 30 hours of streams in the past 5 days.
Yeah, you're full. No more. Oh, yeah, Bob, someone saw you were playing Sekiro because Discord, shows what game you're playing. And they're like, Bob, playing all the Sekiro, keeping it to himself. So greedy.
Well, I got to be really good by the time we do it, so I can just blow through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there are only going to be 2 kind of hard parts.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And even with those, I probably get it down a lot better by the time we actually stream it.
In the year 20.
Can you floss on that final boss yet?
Almost. It took me probably 10 tries last time though, because I just kept messing up.
That's a lot fewer than it fucking took me the one time I beat it. I'm like, this took me 6 fucking hours.
It was embarrassing what I was messing up on, because I screwed up on the first form, which isn't hard at all. I just kept getting really greedy and being like, I don't care that I can just dodge your first 2 attacks and then kill you. I need to kill you before you do those 2 attacks. I'm like, no, you don't. That doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a reason everybody talks about getting greedy.
Yes.
And let's see. Last thing here, we see someone's. Did Bob play Tactical Breach with? Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. Big Think Dimension is possible because of you and your support over at patreon.com/gbpodcast, where you get access to Isolation 119, a movie that contains a ghost, but it's not really about that. Early access to 36 episode-long reviews of Bleach via Chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the Movies. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast.